G'day, battlers, and welcome in for Nexus League of Pittsburgh. I am live for the first time, literally ever, in Pokemon Go. I've never been doing this at the scene of the crime for these Pokemon Go events. And of course, I am some guy, but I'm with one of the greatest people in the entire world. Hello, friend.
How's it going, Steve? It's good to be with you. I'm not quite in Pittsburgh, but I am coming in here remotely. It's unfortunate that I couldn't be with you there, but I'm going to do my best to be there in spirit, and we have some awesome battles coming. And thank you so much to Nexus League for working with Mazer to put this together.
No, yeah, absolutely. So this is a big old tournament. We've got a bunch of people live here in the Phoenix Theatre over in Pittsburgh. I've obviously flown a bit of a distance to get here, and of course I'm really happy to have SpeediestChief over here as well. But we're going to be jumping into, actually in saying that, it looks like the Discord video screen. Okay, I didn't fix it. Uh-oh. Have I broken it? I think I've broken it. Oh no.
It's fine to me.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about it. I'm not. It's just a strange thing where I'm not going to be able to see when they start until whatever. But regardless, sorry about that. But yeah, today we are going to be doing a big old open Great League tournament. So this is going to be double elimination, similar to sort of play Pokemon format. Again, I'm pretty sure we're not allowing the double two Pokemon of the same species, so you can't bring Ninetales and Alolan Ninetales. Not that I'm referring to anything at all, and that sort of deal. So this is a little bit of practice, and there is some cash moolah on the line. $300 prize pool for the lucky winner who does walk away here. There's some really great battlers here, Speedy. Like we've got Battle Bill, we've got Dunebug97 here of Mazer fame, the reigning world champion. In the Sylph Arena, and of course, great battle all around. We've got Brown Baller, Yu Yes is here. We've got Kaiser, Magic Mason. There are so many amazing battles here, and I'm really looking forward to it. You can get to the bracket, I believe, through the Antimatter Discord. I'm sure that as the stream goes on, we'll have time to sort of get all of those links and whatnot sorted out. But I mean, with that said, I mean, how are you sort of feeling? Obviously, we've come out of a few play Pokemon series so far. We've got some Great League sort of blood running through the veins. You've seen a few battles maybe in your time. How are you sort of feeling about the sort of competitive environment at the moment, and sort of what you're seeing in the gameplay at the moment, and what you might be expecting from this tournament?
I think we have a lot of positive momentum in a lot of different ways in terms of the live tournaments that are happening, but also just getting more Great League practice, having an official format to kind of latch onto in the Play Pokemon Championship Series. And that's why we're running a double elimination tournament today. And we'll be primarily following the winner's bracket. So it's going to be interesting to watch as these trainers kind of shake their way through these battles. But in terms of momentum, I wanted to say a lot of these trainers here I actually met in Indianapolis, including Magic Mason and Kaiser Tenor. It was good to meet those gentlemen in person for the first time, and it's good to be in person again for Pokemon Go in general. We just did, because I'm stuck in New Orleans, wasn't able to make it to Pittsburgh, we just did our Community Day meetup and our Niantic activated event at Jackson Square, and you're there in Pittsburgh in person for another Niantic-centered event, right?
I think that there wasn't an actual Niantic-centered event. However, there was Kelsey, the new community manager, was around here. So got to meet them, and it was definitely a lot of fun. And plenty of people here as well. I mean, this is really sort of one of my first outings since COVID, to really get out there, meet trainers again. And it's really definitely a lot of fun to sort of see how this is all playing out. But it looks like we are going to be jumping straight into the games here. We've got Magic Mason and Kaiser Tenor, not Kaiser Niner, coming in to the games here. I'll have to, they're sitting right over at that table right there, because again, we live, this is a crazy environment. And it is seriously, like, there's so many battles going on back there. It is definitely a lot of fun. I'm going to block the screen so that Magic Mason can't stream snipe Kaiser's lineup here. But as soon as we lock in there, we'll be very well good to go, Speedy. I mean, this is exciting. And obviously we haven't really got a chance to go through the teams either. Apologies, but we'll get to that after this battle, I think. Uh-oh, it looks like we've got a Speediest.
Like a Lickitung Swampert. Oh, I'm back. Okay. All right, Steve. Looks like we have a bit of a Lickitung versus Skarmory matchup, very neutral, but you have to kind of already run through your mind and think, is this the best possible position for the Lickitung to be? We do see the body slam coming up from Kaiser Tenor right away here.
Yeah, this is definitely going to add a fair, it's a little bit of damage. It's not going to do tons because Skarmory does have that steel typing, so it is going to be resisted. But Lickitung is just going to be able to keep on adding this damage regardless and get those body slams really spammy.
We've seen Swampert in the back lines for both of these trainers. As Skarmory goes for a charge attack here, it looks like it will end up being Sky Attack. Good no shield there by Kaiser Tenor, staying in the matchup. But Swampert is such a powerful Pokemon when you don't have grass types on your team like Trevenant. And the Lickitung with Power Whip seems like the best tool to deal with it. But Lickitung is right now boxed in against the Skarmory. Let's see if they play this all the way out.
Yeah, I mean, this Lickitung is definitely losing a lot of health here, getting really low. Skarmory getting another charge move off here. We're not seeing... Oh, we do see the Protect Shield from the Lickitung there. Skarmory going to have to keep going. It's going to get hit by a Body Slam here. Oh, we're going to get the full Lick Down. We get the full Lick Down. Oh, my gosh. Play the Lick It Downs from SpeediestChief's streams. We've got the defense Deoxys coming in to eat up this energy and just soak it and before this Lickitung gets countered all the way down.
Yeah, great timing there by Kaiser. He does sacrifice that shield, but now he's going to do a lot of damage to to the different Deoxys with the Lickitung. We saw this a lot in Silph Regionals last season. Defense form Deoxys, HP form Deoxys. It takes so much damage. Look at this Deoxys. It's now into the yellow, Steve.
Yeah, this is actually really not looking great here. We see Kaiser has brought in the Swampert. Going to go straight for a Psycho Boost from Magic Mason, which should do a lot of damage. And we're seeing no Protect Shield from Kaiser. Just going to go through there. It is going to reduce the attack. So now Magic Mason is swapping into Swampert of his own, now that Kaiser's Swampert has been weakened. So he has a little bit more chance to win this matchup, Speed.
This is a brutal CMP event. We did see a bit of an overcharge there by Kaiser, and he's forced to throw up that last Protect Shield and now try to return fire with the Hydro Cannon. I still think there are a few win conditions here, especially with Medicham in the back for Kaiser.
Yeah, I mean, Medicham is a really bulky Pokemon. It can definitely do a lot, especially with Magic Mason's Deoxys not having a lot of health in the back. We actually see that Medicham swap in. This Swampert is, in fact, running Hydro Cannon and Sludge Wave, so there's no threat of Earthquake here. Not that Kaiser knows that. But with no Protect Shields left over, this Swampert is just going to be going for straight Hydro Cannons, and they come off so spammy.
Yeah, the timing of this swap is so difficult because Magic Mason's able to gather so much energy on the Swampert. Now he just deploys continuous Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon. He's working for the third, and Medicham is about to faint, but it gets the Psychic and a catch!
Wow, what a catch from Magic Mason. This Psychic, so much energy, just getting soaked into that pure Psychic type defense Deoxys, resisting that all the way, and is also going to be able to counter it down. So much energy ready to go into this next matchup with another Psycho Boost going onto this Swampert with no Protect Shields remaining. This is not looking fantastic for Magic Mason. That is for Magic Mason, for Kaiser. And Magic Mason able to take out that first battle.
It's not just fantastic, Steve. It's spectacular as he's able to close out that game one. We noticed a couple of times there, Kaiser maybe a little bit slow on the switches, maybe coming in to a matchup, maybe making decisions a bit too late. And against a trainer that's as good as Magic Mason, go out of league leaderboarder, GBLA competitor, he's just so talented. And you give him a slight edge, and he really takes advantage of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, these are definitely both battlers. They know what they're doing. Even though Kaiser was in a little bit of a rough spot there, I think there was a lot of really nice, interesting play, a lot of swaps. And I think that swaps really provides that bastion for some different plays. We saw the big catch from the Deoxys. I think we saw a lot of that from King's gameplay in the Indianapolis regionals, where keeping those Pokemon with a little bit of health in the back can really sort of help you out later on in the match to just do a little bit better and use, essentially act as a third Protect Shield, which is pretty much exactly what we saw there, except it was even better than that because Deoxys was then able to farm up to a charge move and land a charge move onto the Pokemon in the back. But Speedy, we are going to be jumping into game 2 here with a Swampert into a Mandibuzz.
All right, let's see if this is a Air/Mandibuzz or beginning shades of Aries, the EUIC champion. And it is an Air/Mandibuzz. I believe that's the new meta now. Now, in this position, how late do you stay in this matchup? Do you try to fire off a couple of foul plays here? And we see the switch actually into Skarmory.
Okay, so the answer to that question is you don't stay in for very long at all. Swapping straight into potentially trying to eat an Air Slash onto the Skarmory, but he's going to eat that foul play, which is, Skarmory's not going to take it super well, but Mandibuzz is also a really bulky Pokemon. I'm sort of interested to see how this matchup is going to go, because Skarmory is going to be doing more damage, while Mandibuzz is going to have that more bulk, so it's going to be potentially a question of who decides to burn shields in this matchup.
So I think what we're going to see from Kaiser here is a reluctance to shield early. I think he saw in game one how the two-shield Swampert was such a problem, and now it exited with quite a bit of energy as well. So I doubt Kaiser's going to shield anything here. He's going to lean, like you said, on the Mandibuzz bulk to try to win this matchup.
Yeah, and it's definitely doing all right for him here. We're seeing another Sky Attack come through from Magic Mason, but Mandibuzz, Kaiser knows that he can definitely tank that. So down goes the health into the red, but able to get another charge move off here. And I think at this point, if we see no shield from Magic Mason, this Mandibuzz is going to have a pretty good time adding up the damage, and actually no Protect Shield. So I guess at this point, I'm expecting the Alolan Ninetales to come back in here. No! We actually see the Swampert come in with the energy. Is this... That's past 100
Look at the
speed.
recognition. It's capped on energy. Swampert is locked and loaded and is able to get a few more extra mud shots because Mason recognizes the energy pacing, knows Mandibuzz can't get to a charge attack. So Swampert, again, stands strong. This is an interesting play as well. Keeping the Ninetales in the back, not wanting to reveal it. Do you think we see a switch in here?
Well, it really depends on what moveset it's running. If it's a Powder Snow Ninetales, then maybe we don't. But if it's that Charm Ninetales, there is a good potential that it comes in here to try and... Maybe we actually see it a little bit later in the matchup and we see it try to snipe the Medicham, take it down and KO it before it's able to get a charge move off. We see no Protect Shield coming in on Kaiser's Medicham, but has identifying that there might have been a move. And it looks like he went for the charge move, but it did not go off there, allowing Kaiser to throw this Psychic onto a Alolan Ninetales. Really nice timing from Magic Mason, but very unfortunate for him.
That absolutely looked like an attempt to catch the Ice Punch. It was almost successful. This is a Sludge Wave Swampert. If it draws a shield here from the Ninetales, but Ninetales is actually going to strike first and force to use that Protect Shield here. Kaiser in trouble against the Alolan Ninetales.
Yeah, we do see that Protect Shield come up on Swampert's side, and now with no more shields, but Swampert going to charge up as much energy as possibly can. Again, going over the energy cap. Kaiser is just trying to get 105 energy, not knowing that he can only get that 100 before throwing this Hydro Cannon. Not going to quite take out the Ninetales, so going to have to throw another one. We do see that Charm come through, and that is really going to hurt this Swampert, but actually going to let the Ninetales go.
Ooh. Yeah, opting to keep that last Protect Shield, a little bit of latency there. The Hydro Cannon does deliver, still keeping the shield in the back pocket, looking for a mud shot down. Does he get there? No.
Oh, that's really unfortunate for him, unfortunately. This Hydro Cannon is definitely going to go. Oh, we see the Protect Shield come up, so now going to mud shot the rest of the way down and have a ton of energy to go onto this Medicham in the back who has no energy left over. This Hydro Cannon is really going to hurt Speedy.
I think this Medicham is going to get taken off the field here, and it does. Just like we saw in game one, the Swampert, Steve, is so powerful, and I really appreciate Mason's ability to kind of stay within these energy gaps. Before the charge move is ready, you see him do so many mud shots. He's capping at 100 and storing extra charge moves. He drew the first shield again in game two, and that allowed him to kind of dominate the rest of the matchup. That's a 2-0 for Magic Mason over Kaiser Tenor.
Yeah, again, now this is a double elimination tournament, which means that Kaiser is not out of the running. He's just dropped down into the losers bracket, and we may, as we've seen in some of the previous Play Pokemon regionals, a sweep down through the losers bracket and to see them again in the finals. But yeah, Magic Mason will be going ahead into the next round. And what we can do, actually, we can bring the bracket up here. We don't actually have a screen set up for it, so I'm just going to add a browser source on the fly so we can take a look at this larger bracket. But I really did enjoy Magic Mason's command of his energy and also his switch potential as they were going on. In that matchup, I think that he had a good handle of what his Pokemon could take, what they couldn't, and then was really just able to play around Kaiser, even though there was a million energy that he was stocking up at all times. Was able to keep a calm head and able to play it out all good. Okay, so we've got the window capture coming up here. Oops, sorry, I didn't share the screen. It's over here. Any second now.
It's all
there
good.
We go. We have the
There we
bracket
go.
here. So we can already see that this tournament is well and truly underway. We're seeing a lot of battles going ahead here. We saw in first one, we saw Jigglydad take out Latuyu, Patball going ahead into round two. We've got Magic Mason and Kaiser, as we just saw, with Magic Mason taking that one out. We've got Battle Bill, who's just taken out Greekachu in round two, who's going ahead into round three against the one and only Dunebug, which is definitely going to be a pretty hype battle for sure. Maybe we can get a look at it. I'm not quite sure. But we've also got the losers bracket progressing as well as it goes, and we'll see this bracket progress all the way up to the finals. But Speed, is there any battles here that you're sort of really looking forward, to seeing as we progress through today?
Absolutely. So we did see A couple of trainers already knocked out. Brown Baller in your fourth pairing there did get defeated by Kaiser Tenor, fell down to that losers bracket, and then was defeated again. And I don't mean to single him out. I just want to point out again the nature of the double elimination bracket. You can have essentially 2 opportunities to stay alive in the tournament, and unfortunately, Brown Baller knocked out early. A lot of trainers that we expect to do well, Dunebug notching 2 2-0s, which means his opponent did not win game 2 or game 1. He was able to win 2 straight and land in that third, I guess you could say, round 3 stage against Battle Bill. That's going to be really fun to watch. And Greekachu, a name that I'm not quite familiar with, but I'm sure that they're quite talented as well. And they will fall to that secondary bracket as well, where they will face Juice Master. So it'll be interesting to watch. It looks like Jiggly also falls to that secondary bracket. But again, a lot of battlers that we haven't seen over the past couple of years or have seen recently, all kind of mixed in here in Pittsburgh. And it's an exciting scene to watch.
No, absolutely. And again, this is really, I think this is my first time ever being at one of these large tournaments. I've only ever been able to compete in like my regionals in Sydney, which is certainly a lot of fun. Back in Sylph Arena Season 1 and Sylph Arena Season 2, from then on, it was online, I believe. So I personally really haven't had an opportunity, but I think just by virtue of not being in the US, to see this sort of big action unplay as it all rolls on, and it really is a fun environment to be in. So I'm really looking forward to see how this all goes through. There's definitely a few battlers here that I'm not familiar with as well, and I think I'm really interested to see how this bracket is going to be progressing. I mean, in a sense, we sort of have a top 4 here with Dunebug, Battle Bill, and Patball coming in there, although obviously with a double elimination bracket, that's not quite how it works. Because there'll be someone's going to be dropped into the losers bracket, and they'll be progressing along through here. Now, I'm not certain who we are going to be seeing next on stream here, but what we can do is we can take a look at the teams that are sort of having successes so far. So, for example, we can take a look at the team that Dunebug is running. I mean, obviously, people just saw Dunebug have some battles over at the Indianapolis regionals. So I'm interested to see, maybe if you remember Dunebug's team, if he's got any differences as the metas continue to develop, as he maybe approaches the next regionals. So he's going to be running a Walrein, a Trevenant, Metacham, Galarian Stunfisk, Araquanid, and Lickitung. Now, Araquanid is definitely a brand new one to the scene that is a really interesting Pokemon. I mean, we haven't seen that in any sort of proper competitive scene yet, have we? I suppose, actually, it was in yesterday's tournament, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a prominent Pokemon at Lille, but what I've noticed is that Araquanid is very, it's making a great showing at all these practice Great League tournaments. I believe there was one hosted by Mazer last week, or excuse me, this current week, if today is Saturday, that had, I think it was 16 competitors, and eight teams had Araquanid on the team, which is half. What Araquanid really means to me is that it's a Pokemon that kind of soft wins and soft loses a lot of matchups. It's very bulky and hard to get rid of, but I think its true strength lies in its typing, being a bug and water type, only weak to flying, rock, and electric. It's one of those Pokemon that is very hard to target on your team. So you need a Skarmory, you need a Galarian Stunfisk with Rock Slide, you need an electric type Pokemon, maybe Galvantula, which we have not seen because of the prevalence of Galarian Stunfisk, Nidoqueen, Swampert, all the ground type Pokemon, making it very hard for electric types to thrive. And it kind of forces you to open up a new dimension of your team. And Pokemon like Diggersby, that used to be quite good. I remember Nidoqueen Diggersby double ground was a very strong strategy, especially if you can target the enemy Swampert. But those kinds of teams just aren't working the same way they used to because of Araquanid.
Yeah, I think it's a Pokemon that I've seen a lot of people sort of describe as a little bit of a Bastiodon, but in bug form, and I think that sort of maybe plays into that a little bit, how it's definitely a Pokemon that I think a lot of people are still sort of learning how to deal with it. Obviously, people are figuring out what it can beat, what it can't beat, how many Protect Shields you might have to burn for particular matchups so that you can win these matchups, and it's one that I think it's been a meta shift, that's for sure. It's sort of something that, as you said, you're going to need some Pokemon that does specifically target it a little bit, like a Skarmory, so that you can sort of get it out of there without taking too much damage in the meantime. It's one of those Pokemon that if you don't have it on your team, you'll need to be prepared to see it on the other team. But are there any Pokemon that you were kind of seeing that sort of pair well with Araquanid that maybe cover its counters really nicely, that make it perform a little bit better in Pokemon Go PvP?
Well, Araquanid has placed a lot of pressure on team building, especially in the current Great League meta. It makes Trevenant and Walrein not nearly as effective, but what it does do is it amplifies an already very powerful pick, which is Registeel. I think Registeel is very, very powerful, especially with Zap Cannon. It can threaten the Araquanid quite a bit, and it makes a great pairing as well, because Registeel does carry a weakness to ground, a weakness to fighting, but then you have a Pokemon like Araquanid that is capable of hard walling a lot of the Pokemon that counter Registeel. You pair them together, you get a lot of bulk. Even though Araquanid is not XL and neither is the Registeel, there's some of these classic Great League Pokemon that are just so great in terms of stats that they can cap at level 33, 34, etc., and still be very, very viable in the Great League. It reminds me a lot of Cresselia. When I think of Araquanid's introduction, it's like a Cresselia that doesn't need to be XL'd. It's just very, very bulky. I wouldn't quite call it a Bastiodon in a sense, because when I think of Bastiodon, it really dominates a lot of roles. Bastiodon versus a flyer is just really, really a desperate situation for that flyer. But with Araquanid, it kind of slowly eats away at the opponent with the Bug Bite, Bubble Beam, Bug Buzz. It doesn't have a hard-hitting move, and the fast moves are also not hitting very hard unless they're dealing super effective damage. Unless you're paired against a defense form Deoxys with very little defense, and with high defense HP, then you can start to eat your way through that HP. But otherwise, it's kind of like a slow game. Not quite Wobbuffet slow. A lot of times with Wobbuffet, you could switch out, flip that matchup. So Wobbuffet isn't as dominant as it would be on paper, maybe in simulations, but Araquanid is still just right in that kind of sweet spot in terms of balance for bulk and attack.
Yeah, I actually think that you're probably a little bit more correct on that. And I'm seeing Enhoff in chat as well saying that the G-Fisk Araquanid core is really strong. And I think that that is definitely the case. I mean, it's actually really interesting that you sort of mentioned one of Araquanid's sort of big reasons that it's so prevalent in the meta right now is the fact that it is able to do really well up against Walrein. It is able to do really well up against Trevenant. But Dunebug, as well as bringing Araquanid, has actually brought in both those Pokemon as well. Has brought in the Walrein and Trevenant despite running the Araquanid. I mean, also bringing in that Galarian Stunfisk. So I guess that sort of core that Enhoff exactly said completely. And then also just pairing it up with that Medicham and the Lickitung. I feel like Dunebug is a man that has always decided to bring that Lickitung in whenever he is able. He's definitely a big fan of that thing licking all the way down. Now, we sort of missed the teams beforehand, but Magic Mason's full team was actually Umbreon, which we didn't get to see, alongside the Swampert, Alolan Ninetales, Skarmory, Galarian Stunfisk, and defense form Deoxys. I think we might be getting a battle potentially set up here on the back end. So I'll just quickly mention that Battle Bill's team is Araquanid as well, Medicham, Cofagrigus, Skarmory, Galarian Stunfisk, and Swampert. And then finally we have Patball rounding out that sort of top four in the winners bracket at the moment, who's running some very similar Pokemon in Medicham, Walrein, Registeel, Wigglytuff, Sableye, and Altaria, which to me, Speedy, is a lot like a Season 1 sort of team in Go Battle League. It's bringing in that Altaria, bringing in that Sableye, the Wigglytuff, Registeel. It feels like we're back to square one, but with Walrein as that sort of fresh new face that is definitely going to be a little bit scared of Araquanid. But how do you sort of... I mean, do you think that... We've seen Araquanid on 1, 2... I thought it was 3. It's on 2 of the top 4 teams. Do you think that it is going to be more countered as we progress through these metas? As, you know, Araquanid is performing really well, lots of people are bringing them into success. Are we going to see the meta shift in such a way, maybe in these upcoming regionals in these coming weeks, where Araquanid is going to be really scary to bring because there's going to be too many counters? Or do you think it's going to sort of stay in a spot where it's going to be a really strong Pokemon and maybe keeps doing what it's doing?
I think Araquanid is quite strong, and there are very few threats to it. I think that Rollout as a fast attack, we just had that community day today. I think, of course, you're not going to see many Alolan Golem, Alolan Graveler in these kind of Show 6 formats in Open Great League, just because while they do have some strong targets, they really fail against a lot of other common targets and really have a hard time. So I think Rollout, if it was given to a Pokemon like Miltank or even like a Azumarill, I think that those Pokemon could make a lot of work, could do a lot of work, in terms of facing off against Araquanid. The problem, again, is that you just don't have that many ways to target Araquanid besides the Registeel. But what I wanted to mention as well is that we have kind of what I've seen is 3 different schools of thought. We saw King IV and Iomero in Indianapolis, of course, with mirror teams. Walrein, Sableye, Trevenant, Azumarill, Registeel. These are all very, very strong meta Pokemon that are a bit classic and a bit kind of, I don't want to say recycled, but a bit kind of historically powerful that we've seen since the season 1. That is a very, very strong team. And I think Araquanid fits into that mold pretty well because we saw King IV in particular play with his energy, make a lot of switch outs, try to keep his Pokemon in the bag with just a few HP remaining to use them as protect shields. Now, when you build your team of 6 and you add Araquanid to it, you have to recognize that it's not going to hard win a lot of matchups. It's going to have a lot of soft wins, soft losses. So you need to value switch less and value energy and shields more. So Pokemon like we see on other teams like the Alola Ninetales and Umbreon combination, those two Pokemon probably don't fit as well on a team with Araquanid because those are not only very anti-Sableye Pokemon, which is I think the primary purpose that they're so prevalent, but they're also kind of switch-dependent Pokemon. If you lock Umbreon against Azumarill, it's a really bad time. If you lock Ninetales against Nidoqueen, it's a really, really tough time. So when you build around Araquanid, I think the mold of King IV's team probably works the best. Now the third school of thought is the double normal that we saw from Itzaxin. You mentioned Lickitung being very strong. Dunebug has it on his team. Lickitung is able to kind of counter Araquanid a bit better than some of the other meta picks. It gives you a bulky normal type, a great safe switch when most teams only have one counter user. But the double normal strat that we saw in Indianapolis with Itzaxin with the Diggersby doesn't really work anymore because of that Araquanid. So we are going to see a little bit of Lickitung, I think, making a resurgence in the meta because we only saw a couple of them. And I think it gets harder to run the Umbreon Ninetales combination, double dog, as some trainers like to say. It makes it harder to run that when you have a Pokemon like Araquanid that can really kind of finesse its way through matchups with energy management and doesn't care too much about switch.
Yeah, I actually think that's a really good point. I feel like definitely Umbreon is sort of on its way out in that regard with that core with Alola Ninetales. I think that Araquanid with that Bug Bite, with that Bug Buzz, really is just putting so much pressure on it. It's not really going to keep a place in the meta, I feel, because Araquanid, again, as you mentioned, I think that it is going to bring more Lickitungs into the fold, which may increase the importance of the counter users, which might keep the fighting types around, which is then going to sort of circle back around to also being quite good up against the fighting types like Medicham, like Defense Deoxys, although of course Defense Deoxys, by having counter and being a psychic type, does do a little bit of a back and forth sort of matchup with the Umbreon because it is taking super effective for the foul plays while also doing some big counter damage back. But I sort of think that maybe it's not a place, it's a different meta, I think is the big sort of lesson at the end of the day. I mean, we've seen Pokemon like Walrein come in as well that Umbreon just doesn't really do as well against as it sort of used to. Just because there's so much big spammy damage. The Powder Snow Icicle Spear combo is just a really, really strong one from the Walrein. And of course, we're seeing Registeel come back into the meta as well with the new edition of Zap Cannon, new-ish edition of Zap Cannon, where a lot of Registeels are still deciding to run Focus Blast because that is going to be that really good counter up against the Galarian Sunfist, the other steels that are running around in the meta still. And it sort of makes it really hard for Umbreon to try and compete just as much when there is that big damage coming sort of from all ends. Umbreon sort of, I feel like it used to sort of be considered a little bit of a safe swap. You could sort of swap into Umbreon, maybe you can get some neutral dark damage in. You've got Last Resort, or even Psychic as a move that you can throw against a lot of its counters if they do end up swapping in. But it's just not as much of a safe swap today as it used to be because there are all of those Pokemon out there that really do put a little bit too much hurt on it, and it's not going to be safe against the teams that are coming up these days. So I wouldn't be surprised if Umbreon sort of seen the end of its reign, as much as it's sort of got that sort of, you know, Egyptian god type of a stature going alongside it. I think we might, I think we might see that sort of heading away. But that sort of begs the question: if Umbreon is sort of on its way out, does that mean that Pokemon like Trevenant might have an even stronger place in the meta, or is the Araquanid just going to keep it too far down? Do we see more Trevenant, or do we see less Trevenant when its counters as some going down and we are only getting the Araquanid coming in as that sort of big counter? It's probably just too everywhere, right?
Oh, we saw this in Indianapolis. A lot of trainers' teams had both Trevenant and Sableye. And I think that both of those Pokemon are incredibly strong, very flexible. Trevenant even able to force shields away from Pokemon that should dominate the matchups like the Talonflame. We saw that with Gandalf the Yellow. When he engaged with the Trevenant with his Talon, he would have to double shield that Pokemon to try to win his way through the matchup. And then we saw it as well with King IV's matchups. If you remember on day 2, early on, King fell to the loser's bracket because he faced an Umbreon Alola Ninetales team, and he was committed to bringing Sableye, when Trevenant would have been the more flexible option in a lot of different scenarios. So to answer your question about Araquanid, its effect on Trevenant, first of all, I think Araquanid is very, very good at kind of breaking up this Walrein and Trevenant kind of combination that we've seen. It can deal at least neutral damage to both, and when a Bug Buzz hits a Shadow Walrein, it is a gruesome sight. It takes so much HP, way more than you're comfortable with. But I think that in terms of the way the teams are shaking out, Sableye seems like its stock continues to rise. Being a dark and ghost type, it doesn't take as much hurt from a Bug Buzz. It's able to stay in the matchup. It does a lot of neutral Shadow Claw damage. Foul Play does hit very hard, but that return threat is very viable because the energy pacing for Araquanid is so slow. It feels like it takes quite a while to build to a Bug Buzz. No one wants to show the Bubble Beam bait, and there's really not, especially early on in the matchup, a risk to no shielding the first move. Because, again, Bug Buzz is the most powerful move. There's no, there's no Zap Cannon, obviously, kind of style attack on Araquanid. So if you no shield early on in the matchup, build to a return, you can start to apply shield pressure, and it gets pretty tough. Now, with Araquanid pushing Umbreon out of the meta, again, it raises the stock of Pokemon like Sableye that is only really afraid of something like Umbreon or Ninetales. So see these archetypes of teams kind of matching up in different ways as these tournaments play out, and the Alola Ninetales Umbreon core, it's going to be interesting to see how that core adjusts to Pokemon like Araquanid. So we haven't seen it yet, Steve, but I wanted to ask you a question while you're getting set up there. Tapu Fini, Water Gun, Surf, Ice Beam, it's Azumarill 2.0. A lot more fast move pressure. We saw Hoff sweep a practice tournament with it this past week. Where do you think Tapu Fini fits in with its incredible bulk, good fast move, damage pacing, and generally pretty good moveset?
Yeah, I think that Tapu Fini, I mean, obviously Enhoff showed in that Mesa tournament that it's definitely a really powerful Pokemon that can, like, even though Azumarill is around, I think for the most part is considered to be the sort of better Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is sort of seen as a little bit of a budget, not so much budget, but a replacement Azumarill if you can't bring Azumarill. It plays a lot differently in that it survives a lot of matchups that Azumarill isn't quite able to. It's sort of able to sort of play a little bit of a different role in the meta where I think Azumarill, because it's been such a comfortable Great League Pokemon from the very beginning of Pokemon Go PvP when it was first released way back in December 2018, Azumarill has always been a really strong Pokemon, and I sort of feel that it's a Pokemon that people know how to deal with. They know what sort of things can counter it. They get a little bit too comfortable. And then Tapu Fini, which plays with slightly different relationships. It does have that water gun damage, which isn't quite as good of a fast move as Bubble, but it is able to provide a little bit more damage pressure as opposed to that energy generation moves. I think that it plays in such a way that it might put people on the back foot, especially in the sort of current meta where I don't think people are very practiced against Tapu Fini. It's still a very new Pokemon. I mean, I've been seeing special trades just today with people trying to trade their Tapu Finis to try and get a Great League eligible Tapu Fini, which is definitely an effort. I've been successful so far, just failed trade after failed trade. But it's something that just, it's different, and I think that different in a good way where it's a bit of a side grade instead of a downgrade is sort of my opinion about Tapu Fini, and I think that we're more likely than not to see a couple of Tapu Finis find their way into the meta as we progress into these next sort of regionals, these next big tournaments, even though I think for the most part Azumarill is probably still going to be the better bread and butter. But do you sort of agree that Azumarill is probably still the king water fairy of the game?
Oh, well, I have a question for chat. First of all, while we get these next set of battles queued up here, I see Kimley asking if battles will be streamed. Yes, PvP Steve is crushing it in production, and we will have some battles soon. But I have a question to get chat engaged here. Is Azumarill a high-skill Pokemon? Is my question. And to answer your question, Steve, I think this is a hot debate. I saw people talking about it on Twitter, talking about it in Twitch streams as well. I think it's a valid question because we saw Azumarill be very, very strong ever since the inception of Pokemon Go PvP, but then Bubble was nerfed. It wasn't in terms of damage output, it wasn't quite the same. And I think what we see from Tapu Fini is a little bit more fast move pressure than a lot of trainers are ready for. So when you have shields up, especially with a Pokemon like Swampert that thrives behind shields when there's not a lot of fast pressure, it can just fire off Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon. If you have a Pokemon like Tapu Fini, in addition to sharing that Azumarill typing of Water Fairy, you're also able to apply a lot of pressure with Water Gun and Surf, and it just kind of adds up over time. And it's one of those things that a lot of trainers don't account for. Maybe you only have one Charmer on the other opposing team. Maybe there's only one Dragon Breath user in Altaria, but it's so scary trying to bring Altaria to a meta that has so many Wall Rain as well. So a lot of teams have kind of shifted away from that. And we see this one-turn fast move damage actually being pretty prevalent. Pokemon like Arachnid as well benefits from Bug Bite and the Water Gun Tapu Fini. And what I find as well is that experienced trainers are so good at counting moves. They know move durations to such a level that they can throw their charge attacks in the middle of fast moves that are more than 2 turns in duration. Sometimes they wait. Sometimes they kind of sit there and allow the move to come through. But with one-turn fast moves like Tapu Fini's Water Gun or even Arachnid's Bug Bite, you're able to kind of throw and switch at any interval. So a lot of control there. There's a lot of control there for those brand new Pokemon. I think Tapu Fini is a Pokemon that I've been wanting to try. And for those of you asking in chat, I was unable to make my Pittsburgh trip because my flight was delayed and then rescheduled, and then my rescheduled flight was also delayed, so I was not able to make it. But I did have an awesome community day with Math Magic, and he actually made friends with a local, did a Tapu trade, and got a 1495 Tapu Fini, which I am super jealous of.
Look, I've been around here for so long and just seeing so many people get those Great League Tapu Finis, and they really look so good, Speedy. But I can confirm we've just got word that we have got our next matchup sort of set up, ready to go, and it is a matchup that I have seen chat getting a little bit hyped over. We are going to be seeing Battle Bill take on Dunebug 97, going into round 3 of the winners bracket. Now they've just jumped into the Discord call on the back end, so we're waiting for them to share their phone screens, and then we'll be ready to get going into their teams. Again, I'll just read out the teams. What I can do, so I've got like sheets here that have the teams all right here in a very, very official sort of format here. Sort of similar to the way that I've played Pokemon has been running it as well. But it's going to be reversed. Oh, it's actually not reversed. Oh my gosh, look at that. You can see it the right way around.
Oh, nice.
We've got Dunebug's team right here. Hang on, I'm going to have to hold it really steady. So we've got Dunebug's team here.
All Rain.
That's Trevenant.
Sorry, we've got Walrein, Trevenant, Medicham, Galarian Stunfisk, Araquanid, and Lickitung. No flyers, one counter user. Maybe a bit weak to Registeel. Let's see if we can get Registeel on the other side. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, well, as this is a very, very official stream, we can now bring up one of these pieces of paper, Battle Bill. We've got Battle Bill's team, which is right. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, enhance image. There. Oh.
Here we go. I'm trying to read this one here. I see Medicham, Rodriguez, looks like Skarmory, Galarian Stunfisk. Swampert is the 5th and Arachnid is the 1st. Is that correct?
Arachnid is the 1st and Swampert is the 6th, and we have Galarian Stunfisk in there as the number 5. So this is, look, we're figuring out this stream on the fly. We're doing it right. I've got so many pieces of paper here. It is going absolutely wild. We've got Battleville and Dunebug having both joined the Discord call now. They've shared their phone screens, so we're gonna. Dunebugs is still loading, I think. Yeah, I'm not seeing Dunebugs quite yet.
Let's see. So what I'm excited for in this matchup, as you get it set up, Steve, I'll kind of vamp a little bit for you, give you some breathing room. So what I'm excited for is to see Battle Bill in a very, I get your back, in a very competitive format, because we've seen Battle Bill. Of course, he was able to just make one of the most memorable moments of the last couple seasons on his Twitch stream. The 4v3 was pretty exciting to watch. He's had a couple other memorable moments on his Twitch stream, and we know he's very talented, right? He's very fun to be around, always upbeat, always positive, always encouraging, always trying to lift other people up. That's part of the reason he's such a great content creator. But if you juxtapose that against someone like Crimson K19 that we saw come to Indianapolis and actually perform quite well, for a trainer that, people might joke and say, we're in Crimson Elo. We're seeing, weird stuff on the opponent's teams. Like maybe we're not, at the 3,500 rating perhaps, but it's going to be interesting to see how this content creator adapts to this field as well. Because my goodness, this could be a finals match. If you're facing Dunebug in round 1, round 2, round 3, whatever round it might be, that is your Super Bowl because he is the Silph Arena defending champion, right?
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. And we actually have the matchups, the battle screens locked in and ready to go. I've just shot both battlers a message letting them know that they're good to start. So I will be jumping into these battles very, very shortly. They're both looking in the teams here. I can't see. Okay, they're also still sitting at, I think the official table is right behind this lady here. We've got some teams starting to log in here. So I'm going to cut the screen over. And we have Battleville versus Dunebug. Chat, I mean, we don't have any predictions going on, but throw the predictions in text form only. In chat, please. Who are you throwing the hype behind? Do we have, I mean, does Battleville count as an underdog when he is such a good battler himself? I don't know, Speedy. I don't know. I think this is going to be a really good battle, no matter how it does go.
Oh, we have an additional team on the screen as well. Rebel Battleville facing off against Mazer's Dunebug, and we are all queued up. I think both these competitors have a lot of integrity. They won't look over your shoulder and look at the team, so I'm ready to jump in. A very, very dominant lead here for Battleville, leading that fighting type Medicham into Galarian Stunfisk.
Yeah, this is definitely really what Battleville wants to see. Dunebug not in a great spot, and we can see that he's running that Trevenant Lickitung in the back line, which is a really common sort of Great League team of 3 that is used quite often in the Go Battle League as well as in these tournaments as well. Going straight for the Earthquake, and we see a really good Protect Shield from Battleville, protecting it from a lot of that damage, and an interesting swap to Lickitung here, Speedy.
This is interesting, right? And I think Battleville's still okay with the situation, but you have to keep in mind, how are you going to deal with that Galarian Stunfisk in the back? We do see the early shields from both competitors, and he makes the switch into a rack when it gets to the defense drop as well.
That 1 in 10 defense drop could be absolutely huge here. We will see how this goes. Lickitung just going straight for the body slam. No power whips going on here. And Battleville calling that again correctly. No Protect Shield coming up here. It does look like there's a little bit of lag on Dunebug's video coming to us, but I'm sure that it is going. Uh-oh. We've just... have we lost? Has Dunebug accidentally closed the app, or are we going to see this play out just fine? Okay, it looks like we may have just lost Dunebug's screen share here. So we're just going to be focusing on Battleville. We've got Arachninid going for this Bug Buzz here, which isn't going to quite take out the Lickitung, I don't think. I think that it has enough health that it is
going to be quite close.
Oh, but we see the
protection. After the defense drop from the Psychic for Medicham, I think it would have been quite close.
Yeah, you're right. I did forget about that chat. But Lickitung going for the body slam. Oh, just going to let it go.
Absolutely. Arachnid finally falls, wanting to hold on to that final shield. Coming with the Medicham as well. I think Arachnid did a great job there. But as we realize as well, looks like Dunebug is able to win switch advantage, so he will be able to control alignment and not bring Imbisk against the Medicham. Does that change the outcome of this matchup? He switches into Trevenant, but no shields here, Steve.
Oh no, this is not good for that Trevenant at all. Cofagrigus is going to be able to shield up this move, burn that Protect Shield, and keep Cofagrigus alive, farm up a little bit of extra energy, and then throw a Shadow Ball. Oh, and Dunebug trying to get the Shadow Ball through as well, but unfortunately not able to. Battleville doing some really nice counting of moves, making sure that he is going to get this Shadow Ball off before Trevenant is able to get another one off.
You don't want to take too much Shadow Claw damage. Ghost, one of the only typings that deals super effective damage to itself, recognizing wanting to keep Cofagrigus healthy, does throw the Shadow Ball like you pointed out. Now he's going to wait. This is a big decision moment. Coming with the Lickitung, really resisting these Shadow Claws, but will it get all the way there? No! Throws a Psychic.
Okay, Battleville wants to make sure that he does not get hit by a charge move from this Lickitung. This is definitely going to take out that almost no health left on that Lickitung with that Galarian Stunfisk coming back in. The question is, does it have enough energy to take out both Cofagrigus and Medicham? We actually, there's a swap, catching the move onto Medicham. This could be huge depending on what we see come out here. Is this the Rock Slide or the Earthquake?
I like this play a lot. It is the Rock Slide. Here comes Medicham returning, and this is the Medicham versus Iron Stunfisk and Registeel. Your charge attacks just don't do too much damage, and is a resistant Psychic. Can you get the counter down, though? That's a critical question.
Oh, just for the finesse. Battleville taking out the first game up against Dunebug 97. Really strong start for Battleville for sure. Really just had a really nice sort of it lined up really well, I think. I mean, you had the Medicham on the Galarian Stunfisk from the very start, which really put Dunebug a little bit on the back foot, I think. And then, the swaps didn't quite go as planned. Dunebug went down a shields, so had no Protect Shields left over when Battle Bill was able to bring that Cofagrigus into that Trevenant, and Trevenant was just not able to fight through both that Protect Shield that was left over, and also then take out both the Trevenant, both the Cofagrigus and the Medicham that was still hanging around in the back as well. And Galarian Stunfisk coming in the end there, not able to put on quite enough of a fight, even with Medicham coming in, which Battle Bill potentially could have just pushed through with the Cofagrigus, but wanted to make sure and brought that fighting type counter in. But I think we have officially just lost Dunebug's screen entirely potentially here, actually. Oh, maybe we haven't. We might be. Okay.
Let's see.
I might have done an oopsie. 1, 2.
Looking here, I can see Dunebug's screen on my side. It might just not be.
Okay.
Oh, I wanted to point out as well, Dunebug running a team that's ABA weak to counter with that Galarian Stunfisk in the front, Lickitung in the back. I thought what we were going to see is kind of sacrificing the Galarian Stunfisk, getting off a couple of breaks, draw a shield, deal some damage, and then come in with the Trevenant. And then Lickitung versus Cofagrigus and Araquanid would not have been too bad, but I think that just the general bulk of the Araquanid would have made things tough over time, especially with a Bubble Beam buff. Dunebug would have to keep a Pokemon healthy so he can switch out, clear the debuff. But looking like a different strategy here from Battle Bill as he locks in a Steel Flying type lead. Let's see what happens here, Steve.
Yeah, well, we are going to see Dunebug come in with another really good lead this time. Kept the Stunfisk, and this time it gets the advantage with Battle Bill swapping out into that Skarmory. Stunfisk has to swap out of that Skarmory straight away. We see it swap into the Mirror Match Galarian Stunfisk, which is an interesting strategy for Dunebug, swapping out into the Trevenant.
This is very interesting. I think a commanding lead again for Dunebug there on the right side. Here we see the Rock Slide come through. Definitely the right move. Trainers, please don't throw Earthquake at Trevenant. You want to be throwing Rock Slides here.
Best advice you could have when you are playing in these Great League tournaments. We see Galarian Stunfisk getting a really nice Protect Shield here, shielding up that Shadow Ball. No damage coming through there. We've got another Rock Slide going through. Really, really spammy, and Dunebug deciding not to burn the Protect Shield here. Just going to let that come through and hope to get to another charge move in just a few Shadow Claw's time.
Let's see, trying to outpace the Rock Slide, throwing it right away. Does not take a Shadow Ball. But looks like Trevenant does get there first. A little bit of maybe a screen delay there. My mistake. Here comes Shadow Ball. Galarian Stunfisk hangs on, and it loses the Rock Slide energy, Steve.
Oh, that is not a little bit unfortunate for Battle Bill. When you are in these scenarios, when you get those CMP events, you would prefer that you're able to farm up a little bit more energy before you throw that charge move. But regardless, we now see Dunebug's Galarian Stunfisk coming back in from the lead scenario. We actually see Battle Bill keeping that Pokemon in the back with 1 HP. We've seen these strategies played out before. We'll see if we do see a fancy little catch later on in this battle. Burning another Protect Shield on the Earthquake. Dunebug getting both Protect Shields just with that Earthquake, and now swapping into the Lickitung. How does this matchup go when Lickitung is holding onto 2 Protect Shields to Medicham's 0 speed?
Gets home the 2 shields. It just defies all conventional wisdom. It is going to actually take the Psychic, which really surprises me. It actually surprises me quite a bit that we don't see the shield early there, because you assume 2 shield Lickitung, you come out with a ton of health, and then you have, I guess you have the Skarmory versus the Stunfisk. I think Dunebug needs to do some special things to try to win this matchup now.
Yeah, I mean, Dunebug also got hit by the defense.
Oh, the Ice Punch as well.
Oh, no. Oh, I almost wonder if the defense debuff didn't come through from that Psychic as well. Could Lickitung have survived those extra counters to maybe survive that Ice Punch and then get this Body Slam off? I'm not sure, but this is definitely going to take that Medicham down, which is going to mean that Dunebug is going to keep switch advantage, which is really, really important. Although you can see Dunebug's back line there. Lickitung going down, and here comes back the Galarian Stunfisk. This is all but over, Speedy. I mean, that Galarian Stunfisk is just going to be able to throw so many Rock Slides to this Skarmory, and also still has a Protect Shield.
Absolutely. I think Skarmory is definitely in a very tough spot here. I think this is a very dominant situation to be in for Dunebug 97. If we recall as well, Battle Bill's Galarian Stunfisk does have a Rock Slide stored, and the issue there is that it doesn't have enough HP to stay in a matchup and try to get to the Earthquake. But he throws the Rock Slide. This is heads up. Does Dunebug realize this is a Rock Slide? Late game energy counting.
Oh my gosh, Dunebug recognizing the Rock Slide. That is just That's really, really nice there. And just one more mud shot. Down goes that Galarian Sunfisk, and he's still going to be able to throw all of this energy at the Skarmory with no more threat of any sacrificial swaps, any sort of third protect shields by bringing in that extra Pokemon. Although Skarmory's getting a lot of energy here. Does Dunebug do the same thing and let that Psychic come through like he did on the Lickitung? I don't think so. I think that Dunebug... Oh, okay.
Oh.
It looks like Battle Bill just recognized that he had lost the match there and just... oh my gosh. Now we see the charge.
Well, I don't know. He needs 2 Sky attacks here. I think Dunebug's Galarian Stunfisk is ready. Sorry, go ahead.
You can see this mad tapping on the rock slide. Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, a lot of these games come down to patience, playing out the long game. We saw with Kaiser versus Magic Mason earlier, the early Protect Shields getting used, and unfortunately, it allowed Mason to get ahead. In this matchup, I was expecting a 2-shield Lickitung to gather all that energy because you already have such a positive matchup against the Skarmory, but we saw it go down pretty quick. A lot of patience there from Dunebug in that game too, and that brings us to a point parity, if you will, 1-1. This is a decisive game 3, Steve.
Yeah, in this double elimination bracket, it means that only one of these battlers is going to be going through to, I believe, the winner's grand final, as there are only two matchups left in the semi-finals. So one of them will be going ahead and one will be continuing on the tournament in the losers bracket. But regardless, I think that we are going to see some really exciting stuff here. Actually, we can bring these phone screens back on and watch them as they pick their teams here, because hey, they're not looking at all. They're not going to stream snipe past my big head. Look at these big clonkers covering up my ears. It really widens out the space that I'm covering up the screen with. But regardless, I think that obviously Dunebug, I think that the sort of, maybe it wasn't the only winning strategy, but the way that he went once he had made those decisions, once he let the Lickitung go, then recognizing that there was going to be that catch, recognizing he had to be a little bit patient, as you said, getting the rock slide off at the correct time, and just also really, really effective counting. No nervousness from Dunebug from that charge move coming through from that Galarian Sunfisk. If it was me, I don't know about you, but I would be way too scared, and I'd go, what if I counted wrong? Is this going to throw the whole game out? I'm just going to burn the shield just in case, and then it might have gone a little bit pear-shaped. But one of the most important things in Pokemon Go is keeping it cool, keeping it calm, and knowing what you know, applying your knowledge, and just keeping a pulse on what is going on in the match, which can admittedly be a little bit hard to keep up with sometimes. But Speedy, it looks like we're going into that decisive Game 3.
Decisive Game 3, Dunebug97 has led that Galarian Stunfisk twice. He leads another Pokemon Week to counter. Battle Bill with a great call here, leading that Medicham right into the normal type Lickitung. The Medicham has been under so much pressure. It has to do so much work in this matchup, and now Lickitung is deal a lot of damage. Do you stay in here, Steve? I guess you have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really afford to make a swap here out of the Medicham, so I suppose you stay in, you keep the body slams coming from the Lickitung side. You can see that we do have the Galarian Stunfisk and the Skarmory in the back of Battle Bill, which definitely puts him in a little bit of a spot where we can also see Dunebug's back line, which also has something else that he'd ideally like that Medicham to be up against. He's got that Galarian Stunfisk, which sort of means that Battle Bill is going to potentially need that Galarian Stunfisk mirror match because this Medicham has lost so much health. But we are going to see one more Body Slam coming through from Lickitung, get that Protect Shield, and now this Lickitung is going to get counted down here.
I think controlling switch is so huge here. We're going to see if it's bigger than controlling shields. Excuse me, Battleville makes the swap out, goes into the Galarian Stunfisk against the Trevenant here.
Okay, this is definitely an interesting spot and not the best spot for Battle Bill to be in. As was just said, he has that Skarmory hanging out in the back. Dunebug has the Galarian Stunfisk again. This is really scary stuff in the back line, but maybe Battle Bill can still take it out here. There's still plenty of the match to go. Plus, there is that Medicham hanging on to that little bit of HP for potential swap again.
We do see Galarian Stunfisk again just trying its best with these rock slides, but it looks like the Trevenant will get to go first after this CMP event was triggered, is able to finally KO the Galarian Stunfisk. I assume we see the Skarmory here, but Medicham is pretty low HP, Steve. I don't know how much work it can put in against Galarian Stunfisk in the back.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit worried about it. It doesn't really have much it can do. We see the Skarmory come in, the instant swap into that Galarian Sunfisk, and it is going to start heating up now. We can see there is a little bit of potential that Battle Bill could go for a Brave Bird, which he is going to be doing here to try and get some big damage on, so that he can then swap out into the Medicham he has in the back, clear that defense debuff from the Skarmory, and then bring back Skarmory again to maybe try and do the same thing. And that is exactly what we're seeing play out here. Ooh.
Oh, we see the Earthquake come off right away here. This is a huge call. Battle Bill letting the Medicham go. That is so tough. Maybe hoping to catch a resisted Rock Slide. I thought that was a CMP event, but it was not. Here comes the Skarmory. And again, we saw this in Game 2, Steve. The Galarian Sunfisk, even down some health, makes life very hard for the Steel Flyer.
Yeah, luckily Battle Bill on his Skarmory does happen to have one Protect Shield left over, so maybe he can push through, but you can see that there is still that really healthy Trevenant in the back of Dunebug's line there, which is going to put in a little bit, potentially too much work for Battle Bill to overcome. We'll see how it does all play out here, farming up to about 2 Sky Attacks, just a little bit less before throwing the first one, but this is still not going to take that out. Really just hoping that Dunebug burns a Protect Shield here. And he does not.
Do you see that? I think you're saving the Protect Shield for the Trevenant, recognizing if you take this final shield, Trevenant has a clear runway to try to Shadow Ball. We talked about this from Indianapolis. Trevenant's ability to pressure flyers with Stab Shadow Ball is so incredible, and we do see the instant swap in. Trevenant does not want to get further behind. Battle Bill needs 2 Sky Attacks, but he's 1 Air Slash short.
That is really unfortunate for Battle Bill, and Dunebug going for the Shadow Ball, which he definitely, you could hear the woo from Dunebug. I hope that came through. But I think at that point, even a Seed Bomb would have done the job. But Dunebug, despite Battle Bill's really good start in Game 1, is going to be progressing through to the next stage of the bracket. But they were still some really well-played games. And I think for Dunebug, it really just came down to getting the Galarian Sunfisk onto the Skarmory, playing the game and manipulating it in the right way so that you had the right Pokemon landing on the right spots, having it so that, I mean, not only did Dunebug get a good lead there with the... Wait, was it a good lead? No, he started with a bad lead. Without Medicham into
Game 3 was pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah, into the Galarian Sunfisk.
All 3 games.
All 3 games. Never, look, Dunebug obviously is a really strong battler, knows what he's doing, can get out of those tough matchup spots by just sort of manipulating a little bit, keeping the switch going. We've got extra commentary coming in here through. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everyone is welcome, by the way.
Nice. Well,
Sorry,
it looks like a really fun time there in Pittsburgh. I do wish I was there with you. But it just means I have to go to Australia for a tournament in the coming weeks. So hopefully that will happen. I wanted to ask you about this, Steve. So if we want to discuss that matchup a bit more, Dunebug, again, like very strong-willed, very kind of committed to the strategies. He knows what's going to work. Running a lead all 3 games. Game 1, Game 2 is Galarian Sunfisk. Game 3 is Lickitung. Running a lead week to counter every single time. Running 2 Pokemon week to counter and just trying to stretch that Medicham so thin because he realized that his 2 bulky Pokemon, even though they suffered in the matchup against Medicham, they did well against the rest of the team. So again, I see that strong will kind of showing through these matchups. I mean, if I lead 2 Pokemon that are weak to counter, if I lead them in a Medicham twice, I'm changing my lead, Steve. I don't know about you.
Well, hey, technically, he did change the lead, just to something else that was still going to be weak to that Medicham. So I think that it's interesting, because even though we do recognise that Lickitung has that normal typing, Galarian Sunfisk has that steel typing, they are both weak to that counter damage from the Medicham, they're still able to put on a fair bit of hurt back to Medicham on the way. And they're sort of able to whittle it down a little bit. So Lickitung, we saw, was able to get that lick damage through that, and all of those body slams just really adding up so that Medicham was pretty low by the time that Lickitung was down. We saw the Battle Bill was trying to protect that Medicham to maybe keep it with a little bit of health. Not quite enough health to take out another Pokemon that was in the back. But then the same thing with Galarian Sunfisk. Galarian Sunfisk is able to put on a lot of pressure and was actually getting shields out of Battle Bill with that Earthquake threat, which is a really threatening move. And it sort of does, even though it's not a great matchup for either the Lickitung or the Galarian Sunfisk, it's one of those spots where you're still able to put on some hurt, and with Dunebug sort of knowing how to play those games, play through matchups a little bit more. I think he goes for those sort of neutral matchups, right? so he sort of knows that he can play around it. And that is sort of exactly how Junebug played in that game 2 and 3. After sort of adjusting after losing that first one, relatively hard with the way that the team sort of, I think the line of play was definitely a little bit rough for Junebug in the first one, but really nice adjustments from there.
I think the team composition tells you a lot about the trainer's personality, about how they're going to play a team. Again, we talked early on in the case about Araquanid being a less like matchup dependent Pokemon, more of a shield and energy dependent Pokemon. So when we see a team like 97, lots of Pokemon may be weak to counter, maybe a few you can expect kind of fluid gameplay. A lot of trainers try to, we call it RPS, right? Rock, paper, scissors, their opponents, call the lead, call the swap, call the line, get the win. But a lot of trainers also prefer to just go in neutrally and just kind of allow their skill ceiling to really shine and just try to maneuver around their opponent. This you've seen so many Registeels, so many Glaring Stunfisk, so many challenges that Medicham is just unable to conquer due to that standard moveset of Ice Punch and Psychic. When do we start to see Pup Medichams and when do we start to see Dynamic Punch Medichams to really punish these Steel types that honestly, if you can't get rid of them with your Medicham, if you can't knock out Key and Registeel, if you can't beat Diggersby and Glaring Stunfisk, they have a really dominant time against the rest of your team like we just saw in this matchup. When does Medicham finally put the hammer down and just start dynamic punching these Pokemon out of the stadium?
Look, in just like a couple of sentences, you've already won me over completely. I'm completely on board with the Medicham running those big fighting moves, the dynamic punch. It would really help to shore up these matchups and put it in a lot of a stronger spot. You could argue potentially that it maybe puts you into a little bit more of an RPS situation, a little bit rock, paper, scissors. So maybe by having those movesets where even from the Medicham's perspective, it leans to a strong matchup, but it's not an awesome matchup, maybe that's actually what you want as the Medicham battler, so that you aren't maybe getting Medicham locked in a spot where it can only do really good in certain matchups, but you don't have that coverage move, you don't have, maybe you have to ditch the Ice Punch, so you can't really throw anything good up against a Trevenant, for example. Or maybe you have to ditch the Psychic, and then you aren't really throwing a lot against other Pokemon, other like fighting types, for example. So maybe it is a case where, even though you're sort of weakening a lot of your matchups, you're making sure that you don't sort of lose other matchups in another sort of way. So about 60 seconds ago, I was like, you've completely convinced me, and now I seem to have walked myself right out the door. I've gone, actually, I'm going to keep my moveset. I'm going to keep my charge TMs on the table here. But I think that you've brought up a really good, I don't want to say spice, but a little bit of a more uncommon moveset that could do really well against a lot of teams, especially when you go into that first game, you land it up against that Glaring Stunfisk and they don't expect it. That is just one of the greatest feelings you can have when you've just swung, like, very first charge of the game, you've just removed one of their 3 Pokemon. Like, those sorts of events are just really amazing in this game and really puts you in a really strong position for the rest. And when you are in these best of 3 scenarios, you'll only have to win one more game if you take that first one out. So maybe it's worthwhile. I don't know. What do you think?
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you completely. And I feel like Ice Punch is a comfort coverage move. We use it for the Trevenants. We use it for Altaria historically. It's such a great attack against a Dragon flying type. But for the Pokemon that have fallen out of the meta, maybe we see less Trevenant due to the Wall Rain, due to the Araquanid as well. Even though that matchup isn't terrible, Araquanid still kind of has a slight edge. Maybe we see less of that, and maybe we see Medicham kind of making adjustments. And again, like you pointed out, when you kind of head one direction with your team, you really need to supplement the other matchups, because otherwise you can get locked into hard counter situations. And I don't really prescribe to the idea that Ice Punch is completely invalid or that Dynamic Punch is the way to go, because we have these new Pokemon like Araquanid, like Tapu Fini making their way into the meta where the coverage is still super important for your Medicham. But Steve, we got to do something to address the Steel. I mean, Swampert is so prevalent. It puts in so much work, but Swampert and Medicham need a hand here, because Registeel, one of the main facets of Registeel gameplay is that it is a Steel type Pokemon. Steel is resisted by water. Focus Blast deals neutral to most water types unless you have a subtyping that resists it. And Registeel getting Zap Cannon just throws that out the window. So not only did we see Pokemon like Politoed get nerfed because of the Weather Ball reduction in terms of damage, but we also saw Registeel become so commanding with Zap Cannon that you can't even bring other water types. You have to bring a water ground. So whereas you could lock in a Rainy Castform or a Politoed against a Galarian Stunfisk and have a grand old time, you're not able to do that as comfortably as it anymore as you used to.
Yeah, no, I think you're actually exactly right, but it looks like we're actually, not only do we have the next matchup sort of coming in here, it is actually going to be the winners finals of the bracket. So we have just seen Dunebug take a Battle Bill out with a 2-1 in that last round, but still going to be going ahead in the losers bracket, so we may not have seen the last of Battle Bill, but he's going up against the winner of the other side of the matchup, the Pat Ball versus Magic Mason matchup. But we saw Magic Mason take it out with a 2-0, which means I can bring the bracket up here nice and quick here. We have Magic Mason versus Dunebugs in the winners finals. One of these battlers will be going ahead into that very final bracket. The other one will have to go down to the losers bracket to face the winner of Pat Ball versus Rad Nixie and Battle Bill versus the winner of Kaiser, Nina, and Grimy Danny. So a lot of battles still to play out here, but this is going to be a really hype one. These are the only 2 battles left in the entire tournament that have not been defeated yet. So I think that it is going to be a lot of fun here as we get these battlers set up on the back end. But it looks like we're moving ahead pretty quick. I think they're both getting ready to go.
Oh.
They're setting themselves up at the famous table that's right off screen. I wonder if I can. Is this going to break something? Oh,
can you? Can you get them in the frame?
I don't want to. They're right there. There they are.
I see him.
I see a Dunebug hanging out in his Mazer jersey. We've got Magic Mason facing on the other side. I'll probably move this back just so that I'm not make it even easier for a screen snipe. But regardless, they are. But it's also so worth it. Is it worth it? I think it's worth it. What do you think, chat? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Do we bring them on screen? Look, I was doing something fancy.
Let's get some feedback from chat.
I was using this hat to just cover up the screen while they were picking teams. So I don't know. Maybe this is it's worth it. All right, chat. We've got them coming up.
All right, let's do it.
All
I
right.
like it.
I'll move a little bit more this way so that we get an unobstructed view of the 2 battlers back there. We'll get to see the big cheers and the no's as we go. I think it'll definitely be a lot of fun there. But while the battlers are setting up their screen shares on the Discord, what we can do is, again, we can do a little bit of a reminder of their teams, which again we can do with the magic power of physical media. This is a real mixed media scenario. So again, we're going to bring Dunebug's team back up, right? Down a little bit. And,
all right, Dunebug 97. It looks like he's got the Walrein, the Trevenant, the Galarian Stunfisk, Medicham, Araquanid, and Lickitung.
And then in the other corner, we have Magic Mason, as we saw at the very start of the stream, running that more interesting team with the Umbreon coming in there alongside the Swampert.
Magic Mason running Umbreon, Swampert, Alola Ninetales, Skarmory, Galarian Stunfisk, and Deoxys Arrow Defense Form. This is not attack form Deoxys, which would have been fun to see.
It would have been good to see. What moves does attack form Deoxys even have? I have no idea. It looks like Dunebug and Magic Mason have
Charge Beam plus something else.
Charge Beam plus something else. So, really good PvP Pokemon is what I'm hearing, right? Confirm?
Confirmed.
Okay, it looks like we have both battlers having joined the voice chat, so we'll be starting any minute now. While these, actually, what I can. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Speedy.
I'm so sorry, Speedy. I just wanted to ask you this. Excuse me. When are we getting into our best of 5s? Is this a best of 5 or a best of 3 set?
Oh, that's actually a very good question. I should probably confer with the official judges, and you'll get to,
Okay.
I'm going to leave this on.
Okay, take off.
Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to do something really fancy. You ready? Hang on. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and... Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Whoosh! Whoa! How fancy is that? Whoa, where'd he go? Oh,
Can we get some mod checks in the chat? Where is Steve?
Okay, I'm gonna go. It's
the Australian version of Where's Waldo. You have to find Steve in the US.
Come find me and I'll give you a high five. Okay, I'm gonna leave chat. I'm gonna leave you in the hands of Speediest Chief. I hope he'll be good.
Okay.
He's got my phone number in case anything goes wrong. I'll be right back after conferring. Disappear.
Hey, chat. We've taken over. It's a speedy takeover of the Antimatter Mazer Nexus stream. Thank you all for being here. We're having a great time. So I had a question for you, chat. I saw a lure module here in New Orleans, and the trainer's name was hilarious. We saw one of the other trainers here in the bracket. I believe their name is Grimy Danny. That's a pretty hilarious name, but I think I could do one better. There was one here that was named Garlic Breath 69. So if we have any funny trainer names that you've seen, drop them in the chat. Drop the funniest names you can think of, even if they're your own. If you think your name's pretty clever, pretty funny, let's see it. I gotta say, this has been an awesome production. PvP Steve is running this on the fly, putting everything together. He's doing a fantastic job, and I think he's much deserving of all the praise. So when he gets back, show him some love as well. But anyway, chat, hope you're doing good. Hope you had a great Alolan Golem Community Day. I actually heard that the rollout fast move animation looks really cool. I heard it looks really good. I heard it from Tho Tactical, so we'll have to see if that's a move that other Pokemon get as well. Again, I think everyone is looking forward to Miltank getting rollout. I see a lot of people sharing like the main series game images of rollout just doing increasing damage to all your Pokemon, so we'll have to see. I think Miltank with rollout in the current form is going to be very, very powerful. But again, we have it on a Alolan Golem right now. It's a good experimental phase to kind of see how things work and if it's a viable move, and it could also get changed. So we'll have to see how the game balances out. I really would like to see rollout on Miltank in particular because it helps to deal with Pokemon like Araquanid. When you're dealing some form of super effective damage, I don't care if it's flying, rock, or electric, you have to deal damage to Araquanid somehow. And I feel like a fast move like rollout could be very viable. So I think Steve might be back in just a moment, but I want to point out as well in terms of the teams, if you remember, Magic Mason does have Alolan Ninetales and Umbreon team. Yo, Steve! We're talking about Double Dogs and with Dunebug's more team as well. I know you just arrived. You probably have news for us on the best of 5, but break down the teams after that as well. What did the judges say?
We have confirmed that we are going to be doing a best of 5 for the winners finals, the losers finals, and the grand finals at the end. So we are set for a big old bout between two very strong battles here, Dunebug and Magic Mason. I can bring their screens up right now. Again, we can see them right over there. They're right there. Look, they're there. This is so awesome. Again, like chat, you can probably tell, but I'm pretty excited about being in this sort of situation, which I've never been able to be in before. I should have come to the US earlier, Speedy. I just should have. But regardless,
Yes.
should have. But we've got both teams set up.
No, you waited 2 years just like we all had to.
Exactly. I was just hanging in the COVID bunker. I was supposed to come up for GoFest 2020, and it just, it all fell apart. But we're back. I made it up here. I'm not sure if I'll be here for GoFest 2022, but we'll see. Here for this. So they're just adding each other now, doing the gifts. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Steve, what are the odds that we will see you at North American International Championships or in London for Worlds?
I think that the odds are low for the North American Championships. However, I'm definitely going to try to get over to London. So if you guys are going to be there, I'm not making any promises yet because we're going to have to wait and see. I haven't looked into the dates and whether I can get it all sorted. Obviously, Australia, you have to take like the Friday off so that you can fly and then land when it's still a Friday, and then you leave after the Sunday and you get back and it's already Tuesday. But regardless, it looks like we are getting it all set up here as they pick their teams. I'll use them again, the magic hat to cover up the magic hat to cover up the teams so that no one can see what's going on.
So Steve, I did want to point out before chat gets too engaged, the names are flipped this time. We do have Dunebug 97 on the left.
Oh, you're so correct.
And Magic Mason on the right. I know it's minor, and you're such a pro. You'll crush it. But I just wanted to say before chat started saying it, names flipped. If you get some names flipped in chat, I would appreciate that.
Oh gosh. Wait a minute. What do you mean names flipped? I don't see names flipped. These are the right
Oh, look at that.
Oh, simple. Thanks for the catch. I did know that when I set up the phones, and I forgot. What can you do?
It's just that Dunebug has not changed his outfit in like 4 seasons, so I always know what his avatar looks like.
Oh,
I'm like, that's Dunebug for sure.
That's really... And you're correct. Yeah, I mean, the pose changes, but the outfit stays the same. I mean, the pose has been the same for a while. How many seasons ago was that legend pose? Who knows? But it looks like
I don't know, but I know that Pranav's. I know Pranav's favorite legend pose is the season 4 pose. I know he rocks it all the time whenever he is able to do so. It is his favorite. That's an inside joke there for the Twitch chat. As yeah, Pranav had a very interesting season 4. Anyways, we're into this set as well. Doombug97 on the left, Magic Mason on the right, Swampert in the lead versus Walrein.
This is a matchup we have not really got to see yet. We're seeing the Shadow Walrein coming out up against that Swampert. We see the quick swap out into the Skarmory, which is a really interesting swap speed because this Skarmory is still going to take a lot of damage from these Icicle Spears.
Look at the Walrein actually staying in here. This might be just before CMP, counting up to the Brave Bird. I'd love to see a Icicle Spear and throw, or just a straight switch to a Galarian Stunfisk.
Yeah, I mean, it catches the first Icicle Spear from the charge move. Okay. And no Protect Shield from the Shadow Walrein. This is actually going to do a fair amount of damage, even though it does have that Ice typing. Just because it is Shadow, it doesn't take damage too well. I'm actually wondering, is this going to go all the way? Are we going to see one of these Pokemon faint before we see a swap? I'm not sure, but another Icicle Spear is going to threaten this Skarmory to go down, but we do see the Protect Shield from Magic Mason.
But here comes the double. Here comes the double. Walrein already has another one. Again, 5 and then 4 in terms of Powder Snows to the charge attacks. Double shielding the Skarmory this early in the matchup, Steve.
Yeah, really wants to keep this Skarmory around and actually getting the switch advantage here. This is actually maybe interesting for Magic Mason. We see Dunebug swap into Galarian Stunfisk, but now he has no shields left. So while he has a really decent matchup with Swampert in the back that he is swapping in now, and they are switch locked, so it's going to stay in this matchup, Galarian Stunfisk is going to be able to land an Earthquake here without any threat of a Protect Shield, while this Hydro Cannon, Galarian Stunfisk is going to be able to easily shield up here. So I feel like this is a pretty strong spot for Dunebug, but we'll see how this matchup ends up going. If we do end up seeing the Switch Timers potentially come into play, we actually see Dunebug farming up tons of energy way past the Earthquake before throwing, knowing that this Protect Shield is non-existent and just going to bring that Swampert right down. How much energy do we see Dunebug farm up here before throwing the Rock Slide here? Or do we see the full Mudshot down?
I think you have to recognize that the Swampert is going to outpace. We do see no shield again on Stunfisk. Recognizing again that Swampert is just too fast. We see Lickitung come in, and this is a bit interesting. Again, Dunebug holding onto that final shield, and he's got 2 Pokemon to deal with, but I think Lickitung might have a slight advantage here, especially with the shield in its back pocket. You see the Ninetales come in here. This is when you need to know if Power Whip does slightly more damage, or if you just need to go straight Body Slam, if you do see the first Body Slam coming off here.
Yeah, really wants to get as many charges off as possible here. Just trying to maximize the chance that they can get that one extra little Body Slam through. Brings it down into the yellow. We're seeing a potential... Are we going to see a catch here on Walrein? No attempted catch this time around. Burning the Protect Shield. Dunebug recognizing that he is still going to be safe against this Weather Ball. Maybe we see an attempted catch onto Walrein at the next charge move. We actually see Magic Mason tapping right near that Skarmory as well. Maybe also going for a catch as well. But we do see... not going to come through, and this Body Slam going to... Ooh, that did not do much damage at all. That was visual. That was visual. That was the Skarmory so far that we just...
That looked like a visual... Yeah, that was definitely a visual switch out, but you notice as well, Dunebug throwing in the middle of the charm animation, not allowing that catch. So even though Mason is trying to flick that button, and flick the switch and switch into Skarmory, Dunebug not going to allow him to do that. Again, when you have that one-turn fast move, like we mentioned, with Araquanid, with Lickitung, with Tapu Fini, you can really control when your charge moves come out and when you make switches. So, Steve, the key moment I want to talk about in the matchup here, as we do see the screens getting adjusted, I think that the bluff by Dunebug is really what secured this matchup. When we saw the Skarmory switch in, he did not reach for that Galarian Stunfisk. He told Mason with his behavior that he only had one answer to the Skarmory, and that's a big reason why Mason sunk both shields into it, tried to win the matchup, and it really put him so far behind. A lot of trainers bluffing about their back lines, and I think that's just another level of play.
Yeah, it's one that I think that a lot of people can potentially learn from. It's sort of, you have to first you have to master the skill of being identify what your opponent's back lines are. And then once you can sort of, I think GBL is probably the best place you can go to sort of make those guesses. Maybe you can think like, okay, they've gone for this lead, they've got this as their second Pokemon, they've probably got this in the back. And I think you can then sort of work that up to being able to master that skill as well. But we are going into this next game with Lickitung going into that Umbreon, which is a pretty interesting matchup here, Speedy.
Yeah, again, two very bulky Pokemon here. Chat, if you want to grab a snack, grab a candy bar, maybe put some popcorn in the microwave, you can definitely do that. Again, dealing some resisted lick damage, but the foul plays and snarls are neutral. Lickitung, very, very bulky, probably level 50, I would assume. See that first foul play come through, and it just kind of tickles the Lickitung a little bit there.
Yeah, sorry, was there a charge move thrown? I thought that we were still just doing fast move damage at this point. But regardless, this is... oh, so how's your week been?
Pretty good. You know, yesterday wasn't so much fun, but today kind of made up for it. It's great to be in New Orleans and just being out in person, like you were in Pittsburgh today, having a great time with the community. And yeah, I think we need more of that.
I absolutely agree, and I'm looking forward to more going into the future. Now, while these Lickitung and Umbreon just keep throwing these charge moves back and forth, slowly letting each other down, we can take a quick look at the back lines there. Both battlers bring in the Galarian Stunfisk, with Dunebug bringing in the Trevenant, while Magic Mason, I think, brought in that Alolan Ninetales. Oh no, it wasn't an Alolan Ninetales. It was, please come back on the screen, Defense Deoxys, not Alolan Ninetales. So it's sort of a spot where Defense Deoxys is going to be really good against Stunfisk, but really bad up against the Trevenant. So I think that switch advantage is going to be very important in this matchup. So even though this is really a war of attrition, both are throwing back and forth, I think that this is going to be important. Oh, we actually see a swap out.
Oh, and how important is this? Oh, this is key. This is key how Dunebug responds. Does he switch into Galarian Stunfisk or the Trevenant here?
Oh.
Goes into Trevenant, Steve. That's huge.
That is absolutely massive. We can recognize, because we know the backlines, that that Trevenant was going to be really important to counter the Defense Deoxys in Magic Mason's backline. Maybe Dunebug thinks that it's actually a Alolan Ninetales in the backline, where it would be smart to keep that Galarian Stunfisk for later, use Trevenant up now, but that is not the case at all. We're going to see Trevenant going for the Shadow Ball here. We'll see if no Protect Shield from Magic Mason, so that is going to do a fair amount of damage there. Oh man, down into the red before getting this Rock Slide off, but I guess this is sort of interesting, because now the Defense Deoxys is still going to be around. Maybe we could even see a farm down. I mean, it's possible. Or maybe see Umbreon come in.
We see a straight Shadow Claw through. We're going to get one Seed Bomb. I think the Trevenant can survive one Snarl, but doesn't even risk it. Throws it immediately and forces a Protect Shield away from the Umbreon. So we are going to get the Snarl down, but Umbreon is quite low.
Yeah, I mean, Magic Mason really didn't want to have to bring that Defense Deoxys out into the Trevenant, recognizing that he's got a lot of energy on this Umbreon that he'd like to throw onto whatever Pokemon was in the back, that he was maybe guessing was a Galarian Stunfisk here. There's still two Protect Shields on Dunebug's side that he can decide to burn here, and there's not really a great move to burn it on, because Defense Deoxys is coming out now, and its big damage is not coming from its charge moves, but in fact coming from those big counter fast moves that are adding up more and more. But
I love this bait.
Oh. Are we going to see the Protect Shield?
I'm sorry, Steve. I love this bait. Yes!
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. That is huge. Because now
incredible bait.
Two Protect Shields to 0 on Magic Mason's side. You're going to throw the Earthquake again. No Protect Shields left over. You're going to be able to do a ton of damage to this Defense Deoxys. Might even be able to get another Earthquake off before Defense Deoxys is going to be able to counter down. Maybe not quite. We're actually getting two charge moves off on the Deoxys side. We finally see a Dunebug burning at those Protect Shields, but Deoxys is going to be doing even less damage with those counters now after landing the Psycho Boost.
Trying to reach for a triple Psycho Boost. It's one counter away. Oh, gonna let this go. What?
Oh, okay. Can tank it after the attack.
Trying to catch a third one.
Oh my gosh.
He gets it, Steve. Switches in, he catches the third one. This defense form Deoxys is debuffed, but the trick here is that now the switch timer is up. Umbreon can come back onto the field, reset these counters, and he does it. Goes into Umbreon, tries to snarl down, throws a foul play instead.
Look, this is still going to do a magic 1 HP of damage going through on the Galarian Stunfisk. G-Fisk is not going to Mudshot down, so going to have to throw a charge move against this Umbreon. Here is that charge move, and unfortunately, there is so little health left on that Galarian Stunfisk. We're going to see Umbreon go down here, but that Defense Deoxys is going to come right back in. One quick counter, and just before the timer is up in the game, able to take out that matchup with Magic Mason fighting back to get a win in this winners finals. Truly some incredible gameplay from both battlers.
Oh. Magic Mason, what a spectacular game there in game number 2. Now, technically, Steve, in earlier rounds, we would say, okay, it's 1-1. This is decisive game 3. However, we are in a best of 5, so we have a few more games to play. But I just want to point out when the shields are still in play and the Galarian Stunfisk is on the field in a neutral matchup, whether it be a Zoom Roll, Defense Form Deoxys, Medicham, whatever it might be, we anticipate that Earthquake first. The Earthquake first is almost a safe bet because there's so much HP, a bait sets you so far behind, but that time, unconventional plays from Doombug, throwing the Rock Slide, getting that shield bait, but it didn't matter. His Magic Mason is too OP, he's too busted. That stall in the switch timer allowed him to switch out, bring out that Defense Form Deoxys, drain all the energy away from the Galarian Stunfisk, and then counter down for the win. These are two trainers that are tussling. This is like a mongoose versus a snake.
That's very well put. It looks like both battlers exited out of the battle. Maybe they were trying to reset for lag. So we are going to have to reconnect those up, as again, as you mentioned, this is actually going to be a best of 5. So I'm not sure if, maybe he doesn't know, because he was actually having some problems with connecting the screen share a little bit earlier. So maybe he's not aware that his screen is not sharing. Maybe I'll just turn around and...
yeah, give him a tap. Because I can confirm Doombug just locked in. Mason's probably not too far behind him. Oh wait, we did see them exit the trainer battle.
Okay. Magic Mason has accidentally shared his face cam on the back end instead of sharing his phone screen. I'm sure we'll get this back soon enough. Oh man. This is awesome. And
Steve, again, I want to tell you. You go.
I was going to say it again. They're right there. They're right there.
Okay. I wanted to tell an interesting story. So in Indianapolis, I met Magic Mason in person, and he was wearing his glasses. I just saw on the screen share he is wearing his glasses. However, it did not look like he was wearing his hat. And I remember meeting Magic Mason. I was like, yo, Mason, what's up? I recognized him, and I was like, man, I almost didn't know who you were because you weren't wearing your signature backwards hat. And then he put on his hat, and I was like, oh my God, it's Magic Mason. It's so nice to meet you. How's it going? And just then when he shared his screen and just showed his glasses, I was like, is that really Mason? Yeah, it's Mason.
just someone tell him to put his hat on. Not that he was shared on screen. Unfortunately, the only Magic Mason that you guys are going to get to see is the back of him, right? Actually, okay, I think he's looking at me. Does he need to get dragged back in? Okay, hang on. There we go. All right, I think we're officially good to go. So we'll fade this right back in. But see, this is an awesome part of this being here live. That people can just walk up and I can just know exactly what's going on. It's seriously an awesome environment to be in. But we are going in, but not a decisive game 3, but a game 3 of a best of 5 with a Skarmory up against the Shadow Walrein. And we've seen this matchup in a similar sort of fashion before. And last time we saw Walrein just sort of stay in to do a big amount of damage here, but we have seen a bit of a backline shift. Magic Mason has not brought in the Defense Deoxys this time, instead bringing in the Umbreon. So how do you think he's going to sort of, is it going to play out the exact same way? Are we going to see the Walrein just keep on trucking away, trying to take this Skarmory down before it has to face the Medicham?
A good question. We do see this Skarmory going to return fire here with what looks to be a Sky Attack. Walrein, of course, can absorb one of those. Air Slashes don't deal too much damage. We see the swap out, though, maybe trying to catch an Icicle Spear, going for that Umbreon, and we do see it get answered by the Medicham here, Steve.
Ooh, this is one of those interesting spots where even though you imagine that that fighter Pokemon doing big damage up against the Dark-type Umbreon, does still take a fair bit of damage from these foul plays that do add up over time, especially, as we talked about before, Medicham not having one of those big, hard-hitting moves like a Dynamic Punch to hit those Umbreons that maybe would be useful in these sorts of spots. So Umbreon just going to keep on tracking along and throwing those foul plays. Finally, we have to see some charge moves. Doombug has to throw at some point, right? Oh, man. Finally.
At some point, you would assume, right? You see a neutral Ice Punch come through here from the Medicham. Does deal a little bit of damage, but the Umbreon is going to make this close and competitive with last resorts. I just want to point out as well, 2 Pokemon weak to counter. We see the Umbreon switch in. It pulls out that Medicham, Steve, which means the Galarian Stunfisk will not have to face it in the third part of this matchup.
Yeah, that is a really good point, and you can see
Oh!
1 HP and a dream, able to get this foul play off. It is not going to quite take out the meta champ, but it's going to bring it so freaking low. One counter, down it goes the Umbreon, and Skarmory is just going to quickly come in and take... Oh no, we see a swap out to keep the meta champ alive on 1 HP with an Ice Punch in tow, so you have to be ready for that a little bit later. And the double just snipes going all over the shop with those Wall Rain coming in. Icicle Spear takes down the Skarmory, and now here comes that Stunfisk. Now it is going to be the question. Does Magic Mason burn the shield for the bait?
Let's see, Mason. Oh, he decides to use that shield, and that is so significant because not only will Walrein get another Icicle Spear, but he still has to deal with that Galarian Stunfisk in the back.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty scary here. Stunfisk getting a little bit lower health, There's still 2 Protect Shields up on Doonbug's side. There's no way they're just bringing in that low health Medicham here, saving that for a rainy day, I'm sure. Letting the switch timer go down just so that he can make sure that Medicham is going to be as close to ready to go as possible. But now, Doonbug is really going to have to fight back here with this big disadvantage. And, oh no, getting baited. Throwing the Protect Shield on the rock side as well. This is not a great start for Doonbug here in this last little mirror match.
Absolutely locked in the mirror here. Down energy. Here comes an Earthquake. Doonbug choosing to safely shield this one as well. The problem here is that the Magic Mason's Galarian Stunfisk is not quite within Rock Slide Mudshot down range, so Doonbug might need to do something creative, and he goes for the bait here. This is a huge call for Magic Mason. Does he throw up that final shield to protect himself? Oh yes, he uses it.
He's still in the game. He's still in the game for sure. There are no more Protect Shields left. The Earthquakes. Oh my gosh! He catches it. He catches them. Oh my gosh. Oh, Doonbug.
Oh my god, it looked like it was going to be a CMP, but he throws the Medicham in there with just a few HP, absorbs all that Earthquake damage, and locks down a game 3. Doonbug 97 is going to break new ground here.
Oh my gosh. But again, don't go away too soon, because this is not a best of 3. Doonbug is up 2-1, but it is a best of 5 scenarios. We still have a chance for Magic Mason to fight his way back, but not only that, in this game, but whoever loses this bracket will go down to the losers bracket and still has a chance to come back up and reset the bracket for the championship. And again, that $300 prize pool we are playing for today. So there's definitely a lot of excitement going on. This is really cool to see. So the question is, what does Magic Mason need to do to sort of come back and take the momentum back? Needs to win the next 2 games in a row to get up to that 3-game threshold to knock Doonbug down into the losers matchup. I don't think Quillfish and Macargo are exactly the picks that are going to bring him that victory there, as we saw in the team that were registered. But I think, do you think that maybe I mean, they're both sort of playing around a little bit. Neither of them are sticking to exactly identical lines, but we are seeing Doonbug really loving this particular line of 3 through this tournament with the G-Fisk, the Trevenant, and the Medicham. But the question is, I didn't quite see what Magic Mason locked in there. It looked like there was an Umbreon.
I think there's an Umbreon lead. The thing is, the Shadow Walrein has been so good for Doonbug. I think that's why we see the Deoxys defense form in the back. Very bulky neutral matchup here. This could be a decisive game number 4 if Doonbug's able to win this one. Mason needs 2 straight. He's going to lock in this Umbreon versus the Galarian Stunfisk and start to throw some foul plays, and he goes for the first one here.
Yeah, I mean, already you can still look at those backlines and see that with Umbreon coming in here, you kind of only want to put it in certain matchups. There is a Trevenant that is in the back for Doonbug's lineup that you would love to have that Umbreon locked in against if you could. But we're going to see Doonbug going straight for the Earthquake and Magic Mason burning that Protect Shield really early to keep this, this Umbreon nice and healthy. They're just going to charge up tons of energy. This is playing a little bit similarly to that Umbreon versus Lickitung matchup where Umbreon is just going to keep throwing those charge moves, except this G-Fisk is putting on a bit more of a hurt with these Earthquakes.
Exactly right. We do see a significant amount of HP get lost there from the Umbreon, and we do see a single Snarl and then a foul play come through here. I think the trick is that Doonbug does prefer shield advantage in a lot of situations, and this Umbreon needs to land at least 2 more of these foul plays. Will it survive a second Earthquake?
Yeah, it's getting really close here. I have a feeling that there's always the potential that you could go for a bait to see how it goes in that department. There's that first foul play, 1 Snarl, gets the second. Oh no, we do see a little bit of desync as far as the video feeds coming through, but we do see Galarian Stunfisk coming through with the Earthquake. If this Earthquake does take an Umbreon out, it is not going to get it, but oh my gosh, staying in, keeping the charge move for later. We swap out into the G-Fisk, but this baits out the Medicham from Doonbug. Is this... I wonder if that was the wrong play. It seems interesting to me.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of room here for Magic Mason. Skarmory does have some good favorable matchups, especially forcing a shield early on, going for these early earthquakes as we saw. It's just too risky to bait and shield this early, and we see the Medicham going to finally fire off an Ice Punch here. This is a dominant position for Medicham, but taking that shield is critical, and if Mason can get to one more earthquake, it will be significant. No, not going to allow it to happen, Steve. Doombug trying to deny Mason here.
Yeah. Move denial not able to come through. North American internet not strong enough. This Skarmory coming into the Medicham now. Really strong matchup for this Skarmory. Obviously those Ice Punch can definitely do a fair amount of damage here, but not too much damage, right? It's just a little bit of a tickle. Not quite, a bit more of a tickle. Maybe a flick. A flick's worth of damage onto that Skarmory. And we are still seeing that tiny little bit of health of Umbreon in the back on that Mason side, and a tiny little bit of health of the Glaring Sunfisk on Doombug's side, and I would not be surprised if we see one of those pop up very shortly. But there is still that full Trevenant that is hanging out in the back for Doombug.
Oh,
my gosh, we see the catch. Oh, wow. Doombug,
oh my goodness. You start to visualize your coming in again with a catch, so critical in this moment. You start to visualize your win conditions. You know you need at least one Sky Attack to KO the Medicham, one Sky Attack to break the shield, and hopefully a Trevenant in the back. All those things were lined up here for Mason, but unable to land the first Sky Attack. Another great, outstanding catch there. We do see the first shield come up here, but Trevenant, we've seen put a hurt on flying types.
Yeah, Trevenant with that Shadow Claw.
Oh, and a return. Oh, it's swap combo play.
Combo play coming in. This foul play not going to take the Trevenant out, but going to do a fair amount of damage there. Trevenant is going to be able to Shadow Claw this Umbreon down now. Oh, little bit of lag from Doombug's side, still able to take it down.
I think he was letting the Snarl through.
Oh, keeping the health nice and low, and we see the Shadow Ball come through here. Okay, I can see why it would be a very, very nice play from Doombug there, but it's just going to be a question of whether this Skarmory is going to be able to... Actually, do we still have we don't have a Protect Shield. It's going to be Race to the Charge move here. Oh! No need. One counter. And that seals the deal. Doombug taking out the decisive Game 4 and putting a 3-1 score up against Magic Racing, which again, it means that we are going to be putting Doombug through into the grand finals of this tournament. We're going to be waiting to see who climbs back from the losers bracket to come into the championship. I do wonder how loud the scene is coming in through here, because there's plenty going on, I'll tell you what. But, I mean, look, Doombug played really strongly there. I feel like keeping the energy on that Umbreon, getting that combo play onto the Trevenant, the thought was there, right? But it just didn't quite... I don't think Skarmory was able to do enough after that catch onto Doombug. Once Doombug caught the move, it was a really, really uphill battle after you needed that. As you said, the one Sky Attack to take out Trevenant, the one Sky Attack to take out Medicham, or just a lot of air slashes, and needing to break the shield as well. So it was definitely in a really rough spot. Needed all of the energy that he could possibly get, but was not able to pick it up. So Doombug is going to be pushing through into that finals. But I mean, do you have any other highlights that I've completely skipped over? Because we have just seen 4 battles in a row there.
No. I think you made a great call. I think, again, the catch is your, I guess, second shield in that situation, and that was just so well played. A lot of time when you're performing an air slash, it is a 3-turn attack. He was facing off against a Medicham and a Galarian Stunfisk, so just the 2-turn moves, you're able to throw that fast attack, and then in that 1/2 second of that additional turn, as the air slash is being completed, Mason has to make a decision if he's going to throw the move or not, and unfortunately was unable to line things up. He could have just straight air slash through, but again, that little pause, that slight hesitation is so critical. And like putting pressure on your opponent to make those kinds of mistakes is such a important key component of Pokemon Go PvP, because the turn speeds are so fast. Speaking of making mistakes, making switches, Steve, I get a little bit nervous when we save a Pokemon with only a few HP, we make a switch out, and we kind of put ourselves into a position where we get kind of hard countered. That's not my preferred play style. I would rather just let the Pokemon go, maybe try to play with energy advantage, shield advantage. What do you prefer? Because we saw that from both Doombug and Mason in that set, and we saw that from King IV in Indianapolis, making those switch outs, giving up switch in order to kind of have a 3rd, 4th shield in the end game. What do you think of that?
Yeah, now, I mean, obviously King IV was an absolute master at applying that strategy, keeping every single Pokemon under the sun, as you kept saying on the day. Just not a single Pokemon going down for King IV, keeping them all alive. Doesn't want to have to bring them back to the Pokemon Center. Wants to keep them all going. And I think I'm with you a little bit. I don't love that strategy just because it does feel like it sometimes can lock you into those matchups that you really don't want to be in, especially when you are in these Great League settings where you are running a Pokemon, like, for example, Umbreon and Trevenant, where, like, that's a really hard matchup that you don't want to be stuck with your Trevenant up against the Umbreon, for example. So when you start to run those Pokemon where there are hard counters, it feels not... I don't love the strategy of keeping it around personally. It's I struggle to play through it. I just feel like they hard counter me and I just can't come back. One catch isn't going to save you from one hard countered matchup where you can't do a single thing, right? It's a lot to come back from if you lose pretty much an entire Pokemon, doing basically no damage to your opponent while you're just switch locked in there, not able to escape, not able to do much at all. So I think I am with you on that front. But what we can do now is we can go back to the bracket, take a look at the updates here, because we are actually starting to get close to the end here. Now, we've got Magic Mason coming through with Dunebug. Dunebug taking out the win. So Magic Mason will be going down into the losers bracket, where I believe we'll be facing the winner of this matchup. Oh, Magic Mason. Oh my gosh, I've never seen this bracket feel out in real time. And that was really cool to see, just saying. I like that. It was very cool. But Magic Mason's name coming up at the end, very end there. So we're just waiting on Battle Bill versus Grimy Danny. Oh my gosh, waiting for nothing. The matchups are all coming through right now. We got to see another result typed in real time. We've got Nixie versus Grimy Danny. And what we're going to have to do, chat, we're going to have to find some teams. They're in here somewhere. So we essentially have a couple of matchups left to go. First, we're going to see this losers semi-final with Rad versus Grimy Danny. We're then going to see the losers grand final with Magic Mason versus the winner of that last matchup. And the winner of that is going to go ahead and face Dunebug. So there is still a chance that Magic Mason can go back and refight in that best of 5 scenario. But this next matchup that we are going to see here is in fact going to be best of 3. And then the rest of the battles for the stream are going to be best of 5. But chat, thanks for coming out, by the way. It's been a lot of fun. I've got a really weird setup here, but I've got chat set up in front of me on my phone. One of these.
Nice.
We have one team. We have Grimy Danny's team here, and there we almost tilt. I don't know how easy that is to. Oh no, I'm not sharing it. Oh, I'm a fool.
It's okay. I was just kind of like, all right. Okay, I know you're doing a lot, Steve. You're doing a great job.
Big love. Okay, there we go.
All right.
Okay, so this
Grimy
is
Danny
Grimy
with the
Danny's team.
Braquinid, Trevenant, Medicham, Azumarill, Galarian Stunfisk, and the Umbreon as well. This is an interesting composition, in my opinion. We typically don't see Umbreon unless it's with Alola Ninetales, right?
Yeah, as we kind of just saw in that last one, and there were a few matchups where they went in with the Umbreon at the A9, but definitely an interesting pairing. I mean, I suppose bringing in the Araquanid, I guess actually looking at this team, it feels a little bit like those other teams that are running around. All of those, they're very similar. The Medicham, the Trevenant, the Galarian Stunfisk, actually bringing in the Azumarill this time as well. So maybe, I guess, it's a little bit of a swap out of the fairies. No Alola Ninetales, and instead bringing in the Azumarill. We can see the moveset. I won't say it too loud, in case they can hear it back there, but it does happen to be, yeah, that, what, isn't that nice?
All right, so it looks like a Psychic Last Resort Umbreon. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, they're running Hyper Beam on Trevenant? This is ridiculous. And then on the other team, we have, oh man, lots of chaos going, and, oh, I was hoping they would race like right across behind me, so it would be a really cool thing there. But then on the other side, we have this team right here, who we do have ticks there. One is Shadow and one is Purified, but Enhanced Image.
Ooh, okay. Trevenant, Swampert, Medicham, Sableye, Walrein, and Registeel. There has been a stark absence of Sableye so far in this tournament, and I really feel like it is its time to shine. We also see Double Water as well on that team, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be interesting. Steve, I think Sableye is still one of the best Pokemon in all of Great League. Do you think it has play in this particular matchup?
Look, Sableye, I dropped some of the teams, but KDP coming to the rescue. I'm making a mess out here, gamers. But regardless, I think Sableye definitely has some play just because not only do you see the Metacham, but you also see the Trevenant as well. Are we actually getting some news here about, are we seeing the next matchup of Rad versus Grimy Danny? Yes, we are. Confirmed. So yeah, 3 battles, maybe 4 left to go in this bracket. But we have got the official confirmation. Oh my gosh. And I'm not sure what this means, but Kaiser has just walked up to me and dropped this on the desk. I'm not sure, does this mean something? Do we have a mascot of the stream now? I have no idea at all, but you can see that everyone is really gathering over this, because now we're in the spot, we're in the losers semi-final, so there's only 1 battle being played at a time, so everyone is sort of watching it live over there, and it's definitely a really cool environment to be in. But regardless, sorry, back to your question, I do think Sableye definitely has some good play here, because obviously Sableye versus Metacham is a really, really strong matchup. We know that if you can get that locked in, it's going to do incredibly well there. I almost just unplugged something. I'm making an absolute trash heap of this. And then we've also got the Trevenant on the team as well, which Sableye is also able to throw some pretty nice spammy shadow ball, foul plays through, even though it has to be a little bit scared of the shadow balls from Sableye, but not too scared, because it is technically only neutral. It just happens to be a really good move that does a lot of damage with same type attack bonus from Trevenant. So you have to be a little bit wary though, because there is the Umbreon on that team as well, and there is the Azumarill. But I guess, you know, Sableye's running return now, so you have a little bit more play against those matchups than you did in the past. Assuming you're not running Psychic, which, I mean, we do have the... so I think does have...
Well...
I'm
so sorry, Steve. I just wanted to say, if you've had some time to practice against Araquanid, if you match up against your Sableye and you throw foul play, prepare to be disappointed, because the foul play just does minimal damage to Araquanid. It's so strong, and we've been talking about Araquanid counters all day, but Sableye, although it doesn't take too much damage from the Bug Bites and Bug Buzz combination, it is still threatening, and you have to land a return plus a foul play in order to KO that Pokemon. Is just so incredibly dense. And again, I think it's got great flex play. I think we'll see it in the set as well, but it's not like, you know, the cure. It's not the copium for the Araquanid fever we're all feeling these days.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right. It's definitely not the perfect matchup to find yourself in. It's one. I mean, it's just another one that if it ends up on stream, it's going to take us some time. We're going to be able to sit back again, get some snacks. I did realize that I have been neglecting my duties in looking at the Discord chat to find out whether people are in yet. We do have them in the left lobby, so I'm just going to drag them down. Rad is going to have to reshare his screen because he's going to have to get dragged over into this chat. They're both going to have to reshare their screens. Thanks, Mel. Okay, they've both been dragged into the right chat. I'm going to do the server mute, server deafen, and server mute, server deafen. Boom, boom. And we'll get them up really shortly. So we are coming up on the losers semi-finals. But Speedy, again, I really do want to thank you for coming on here. Even though you weren't able to be here in person, it has been an incredible amount of fun here, being able to see you in remote as well. But, okay, looks like they've joined in. We've got... Oh, I thought I heard a Discord ding. Perhaps not.
It was a camera that just turned off. So we're going to get the screen share set up. But Steve, I wanted to ask you, you've been in the US now for a few days. Can you tell us a little bit about your trip?
Okay, absolutely. So essentially, I came down last Wednesday. Hang on, do we have important news here? Okay, we do. No important news. Yeah, so I came in on the Friday and I stayed in Tampa for the weekend. It was definitely a really fun time there. I ended up seeing, you know, for those who are aware, I saw the iDubbbz Creator Clash boxing event, that YouTuber boxing event for charity, which was definitely a lot of fun over there. I had an absolute blast. I Did a Thing is one of my new favorite YouTubers. It was an absolutely fantastic thing to see. Plus, like, you know, there was an investing YouTuber there that I watched. It was a really great time. Then had a really great time there. Got all the regionals, got the Carnivine, got the Maractus, got my first ever Great League Heracross, believe it or not. It was definitely really just...
Nice.
Florida is so overpowered, Speedy. I mean, I can definitely see how you had a really great time living over there. But then we moved on. We moved into Atlanta, where we was able to find some other legends. We found Adib Khan, we found Caleb Peng, and we found Polymers Up. And we had a little bit of lunch together. We had an absolute great time. Speedy's EUIC co-caster. I mean, what is this?
You know what Polymers looks like?
It's a complete secret. I'm not allowed to tell a soul. Look, there is. Caleb did take a photo, and if you zoom in, if you look really close, you can see the back of Polymer's head in a reflection. I'm just gonna put it out there. So maybe, I don't know. It looked a lot like a cat emoji when I looked at the photo, but That's
Ooh, okay.
who's to say? But regardless, definitely had a lot of fun with it. Me and Nadeeb actually ended up going to the aquarium. We tried to go to the world of Coca-Cola, but it turns out that they were stopping to letting people. They weren't letting people in anymore. So then we just had to, we were like, the aquarium's right across the path, so we'll make do. We'll hit up the aquarium, and it was an absolutely great time. By the way, belugas, fantastic animal. A tier, S tier, they're fantastic. If you haven't seen a beluga, like, run into a wall so that it's scratching itself against a glass wall, where you see it just like the flubber just bends in on itself. Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Made the trip, but that was that was fun as well. And then moving on to Chicago. We went to a tournament with the Evan Stonks and Chicago Stars, which was an absolute blast. Doing a bit of a Sylph meta up there, which was that was my first live tournament since before the pandemic. So it was really like, I've been able to compete in any of these Pokemon tournaments yet. So it was definitely a lot of fun to sort of be able to compete in a tournament again. Even though I went 2-3, so not the best result, but I brought Kangaskhan and Heracross, so don't blame me too hard.
It's still fun though.
It was a lot of fun for sure. Even took iFelicia out with that Kangaskhan because, believe it or not, he didn't build his team of 6 thinking he was going to see a Kangaskhan. But
Whoa, critical mistake.
It's core breaker. It was intentional. And then, of course, I've ended up here seeing some lovely people here. We are still waiting for one man over there to share a screen, I do believe. We have one screen share. We're waiting for Grimy Danny to share his screen before we get set up to go. But I got in here yesterday. We made a big old drive, 8-hour drive from Indiana. So we drove all across Indiana, across Ohio, and have ended up in Pittsburgh here. So it really, we're hitting all the states, Speedy. And look, my only regret is that I haven't been able to see you. I'll just have to change my flights on the way back just to come through.
Just change your flight to leave after NAIC. Just stay here till mid-July.
If someone wants to give me COVID and make me have to isolate in America, then I'm not sure how that works. Does that work? Is that a cheat code? Can I go and find COVID and just hang around here even longer? I'm not sure. Someone let me know. Hit me up with the details. But regardless,
I think everyone cares about your health a lot, and we would not want to see you sick. But maybe there's another way, Steve. Maybe there's another way. We'll have to brainstorm on it. Maybe Chad can help us out as well.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'd be interested to hear.
No, but it really has been an amazing trip, and it's really awesome to be here, and it's definitely encouraged me to sort of come back hopefully sooner than later. It sounds like we may have just got that second screen share come through, and we have, so we are going to get that all set up very shortly here, just in a sec. And again, we've got the two teams all set up, skis. I keep forgetting I have to hit grid view. So many buttons you have to press. Such a complicated process, Speed. I know you'd know absolutely nothing about what I'm talking about here. You've never.
Well, I just want to point out, not only are you hosting, also casting, but also building the stream overlay and the setups as we get through. I know you're in studio now. You're resizing windows. You're importing new your window captures. You're doing all the things that we really appreciate you doing. So thank you so much, Steve, for all the hard work you're doing to put together this Pittsburgh tournament. I was asking you before the cast. I was like, there's so many things that you had to work on, so many things to do. I felt so guilty. I was like, Steve, is it not in the cards for today? And luckily, we have a tournament thanks to you.
It is absolutely not just because of me, but because of all of the Antimatter and Mazer folks that are out here keeping this tournament running. It's just been an absolute, it's been an amazing event. It's been a lot of fun to be here. We obviously had Community Day earlier as well, so it's really been a little bit of just a get-together, get everything going, and it's definitely been a lot of fun. But looks like we've come out of the battle screen here, but we'll wait for them to it looks like I'm getting game volume through. I'm not sure if that's coming through on your end as well. I can reduce the user.
Not hearing it on my side, but stream might be.
Okay, let me know, stream. I've just quieted it back down. Let me know if you can hear sound in game. I can still hear it, so potentially yes. Stream volume. Aha, that'll fix it. Meow. Okay, hopefully we should be all good, chat. Let me know. Yeah, this is the Steve is telling me that I should have come to Canada. See the other member of the Council of Steves, but. One day, I'll be up there soon. Should be all good. Yeah, so we've got the teams coming in here again. Grimy Danny just quickly running the Araquanid, Trevenant, Metacham, Azumarill, G-Fisk, and Umbreon. And Magic Mason, he's not in this one. And Rad Nixky running the Trevenant, Swampert, Metachamp, Sableye, Warring, and Registeel. But we are going in to game 1 here of this best of 3 in the losers semi-finals with Registeel in to the Trevenant.
All right, generally a pretty neutral matchup, but Trevenant does get the slight edge. Is going to deal more neutral damage with the Shadow Balls. The trick here is trying to throw before that Zap Cannon is ready, but I don't think Trevenant can quite get there because Zap Cannon is so fast. Oh, he does actually, just 1 or 2 turns early.
Really nice stuff there. Lots of big movements going on back here. We've got the Shadow Ball coming through, bring that Registeel right down into the yellow. Finally getting the Zap Cannon off here. Unfortunately was not able to reduce the attack stat of the Trevenant earlier, but is going to be able to reduce it here. No Protect Shield from that Grimy Danny, and that big resisted damage, but still huge damage to bring it right down into that as well. Definitely cannot tank another one of those, but Trevenant now paces here.
We do see the Trevenant using another Shadow Ball. It looks like the Trevenant will secure the KO. Registeel no shields the second attack. Instead, coming in with the Sableye here, switching it to a Zoom Roll. And what is he going to do now? Radnitsky does not have a hard counter for the Zoom Roll.
Oh, Radnitsky was not prepared for this at all. A Zoom Roll coming into a Sableye and a Metacham. And again, we've seen the moveset now. It is that Ice Beam Play Rough, which is not good for either of these Pokemon. Lands the return onto a Zoom Roll though, which could be really huge for Radnitsky. That could bring him back into play here. Still with Protect Shields, both ready to go. Please burn the first one. Please, Rad. Oh no.
This is tricky because you did see the Metacham force swap in. If you peek at the back line for Grimy Danny, there's an Umbreon back there. So Metacham is critical to success. Maybe Radnitsky getting a little bit too fancy here with the dance floor.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one way to put it, but it's even worse than that because there's still also that bit of Trevenant, which is also really bad for this Metacham. And I suppose that was why that a Metacham has come out here, recognizing that the Trevenant was still back there, so it was going to be maybe a really bad matchup later on, hoping that potentially the Sableye could have a little bit of a better time up against it a little bit later. But yeah, we have the Trevenant and the Umbreon. Trevenant's going to come in here, and we are going to see an Ice Punch come through from this Metacham, but Grimy Danny does have the option to burn a Protect Shield here, and he's going to do that, and then should be able to Shadow Claw all the way down, I think, before Sableye. Oh no, we see a Quick Swap. Quick Swap into Sableye.
Swap, Sableye. Oh, Sableye unable to get their critical shield call by Radnitsky. Let's see what he decides to do. Protects from the Shadow Ball. Great call.
Yeah, really, really nice call, but here is the reveal that it is in fact the Umbreon in the back, and Radnitsky does have to contend with 1 extra Protect Shield over on Grimy Danny's side. Not going to burn a shield on this first one, maybe hoping it was a bait, but Umbreon can tank 2 returns, so maybe just keeping it for a little bit later in the matchup. But now, once you get to this sort of lower spot, you maybe get a little bit more panicked, maybe go, oh, do I need to burn it here? But, you know, at this point, Umbreon has a lot of energy. This Foul Play is going to do a lot of damage to this Sableye. Almost down, and one more Shadow Claw to the Foul Play, but yeah, this is going to be a GG's. Grimy Danny going to take out the first game of this losers semi-finals with the Foul Play, taking out that Sableye, and here comes the Metacham. Couple more Snarls. Did I count it out? Is there an Ice Punch coming? Okay, no Ice Punch coming through.
No Ice Punch.
Oh man,
it was quite close, right? But the Trevenant, I think, was still in the back, and it could have survived at least 1 or 2 counters, so it wasn't too concerning for Grimy Danny. And this is why Umbreon still pays its way, it carries its weight in a lot of the current meta because it's so dominant against Sableye. Again, like you said, absorbing 2 returns if it has to, still grinding out that matchup and getting a win. Such a powerful Pokemon. And I think that, again, Radnitsky maybe trying to make a hard call on predictions in the back, not playing too relaxed, makes the switch out into Metacham, kind of sacrifices it to the Azum Roll. I think if you play out the 4 shield scenario, Azu versus Sableye, after you land the return, you can just rely on Shadow Claw damage for plus Foul Play to secure the KO there because your pacing is just slightly faster. And then Metacham versus Umbreon is pretty straightforward, but it would have been close because, again, Metacham only with Ice Punch and Psychic cannot deal any super effective damage.
Yeah, exactly. The lack of any Dynamic Punch, big hits. This is apparently become the stream of advocating for that Dynamic Punch or Power Punch on that Metacham. But either way, no teaming moves once we're into the tournament, exactly the same as Play Pokemon goes. We have seen one team lock in there. I have a feeling that we're definitely going to see that Sableye come back out on Radnitsky's side. And I think you're right. It is that sort of situation where maybe played his hand a little bit too hard, thinking like, okay, I need to sacrifice a Metacham, which is like usually a really nice play. knowing that he's going to be able to get the Medicham up against not the Trevenant, but the way it went, that Trevenant was just going to be locking itself up against a really unfortunate matchup in the back with the Umbreon still existing as well, on full health. Even landing that first return through just wasn't able to take it out. But regardless, we are going to be jumping into game 2 here again. Best of 3. I know we've jumped back a little bit, but we are going in with a really, really solid lead from Grimy Danny Azumarill going into that Sableye, and I have a feeling that there's not even a good chance to swap here, Speedy. We have Medicham and Reggie in the back.
I think you try to catch a play rough on the Registeel, and that's exactly what we do see. Azumarill deploying the play rough. Here comes the Reggie, going to absorb this energy here. Now, the thing is, though, Steve, this doesn't get much easier for Registeel because it gets met by a Medicham, excuse me.
Yeah, no, that is definitely really true. Grimy Danny seeming to have this game in the palm of his hand. All of the hard counters coming straight in. He's going to be able to tank this Sap Cannon, although, as we know, it is going to do a lot of damage, and this Medicham is going to not enjoy it, plus have its attack reduced by that debuff there. But still, able to have a ton of energy as we keep on countering away.
You see the Psychic coming through here. This is same type attack bonus, so Medicham does prefer to throw this here, even though it is resisted. Registeel does hang on, but I think it's within 2 counters of being KO'd, and it is knocked out before the Focus Blast is ready, Steve.
How many defense debuffs have we seen come through here from Psychics? Isn't it a 1 in 10 chance? Absolutely insane, and that actually may have won that matchup on its own, just being able to counter down because of that before that charge move came through. But now, Sableye able to come in, throw this foul play. Grimy Danny probably not going to be too worried about protecting this Medicham because it was not in a great spot regardless. Now able to bring either Pokemon back in here. This could be potentially a spot where there is a wrong prediction, and we maybe see that coming into play. We see in the back that Grimy Danny has Galarian Sunfisk and Rad has the Medicham. This could have actually played a little bit differently. If he went for the Galarian Sunfisk, could have had a really good back matchup, but I think Rad does have a chance in the back now that this is the way that it's gone.
Again, when you're in a set of best of 3 or even best of 5, a lot of the mind games are so critical. You want to scare away certain picks and kind of encourage your opponent to bring others. And the Medicham Sableye combo was just not great in game 1, but Grimy Danny is trying to hammer that home, and I think Radnitsky is ready for it.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. Another return coming through. Still that one Protect Shield waiting in the wings. Do we see the Azumarill protect itself, thinking that it might be necessary for that the Medicham in the back? Do see the Protect Shield. Do we see, okay, we do see Azumarill coming in, presumably just throwing the Ice Beam here to try and get that bait, try and get that last Protect Shield, or otherwise take the Sableye out of the game. See that Protect Shield come up, in it comes. Are we going to see a swap here? Are we going to see it just going for that return? Can it get to the return speed? Wow.
This is the 3rd return that the Sableye has thrown. My goodness, it finally is able to KO the Azumarill, lock in that switch advantage, and we're going to see an instant swap out right into that Galarian Stunfisk and then the Medicham to meet it.
Where is Dynamic Punch? If you had Dynamic Punch, this would be hard. Hard big throws here, but Medicham is still in a really nice position here. Definitely going to have to eat an Earthquake in a very short amount of time, but going to try and just add up as much damage as possible with these counters and Ice Punches, counters and Ice Punches. Are we farming up time? Are we going to go for... Is that a... I thought it kicked Rock Slide. It's like, oh. But no. Going to go for it.
Oh, there's... No, of course, no reason to bait here when no shields are in play. But like you said, Ice Punch counter, that is the combination. That is the recipe. Unfortunately, Sunfisk unable to really hold on long enough to get to a second Earthquake. I think this might be enough, Steve.
Yeah. Oh, not quite. One more counter? One more counter. All it needed. Galarian Sunfisk was almost at that Rock Slide, but I don't think it would have quite been enough regardless. So Radnitsky taking out that second battle. Is that 2-0? Or is that 1-1? I think that's 1-1.
I believe it's 1-1 because remember, Grimy Danny's Azumarill was so powerful in game number 1. Rad making the swap out to Medicham. Now this is the real test, right? Game 3, it's kind of like 2 bulls rushing at each other. Which bull hesitates? Which one turns off course? Do we see that Azumarill just get hammered home here from Grimy? Do we see that Sableye Medicham really, really sticky combination from Radnitsky? How do these trainers react in game 3?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose in that last game was able to take the Azumarill out in the end with the just return after return after return from that Sableye. Really just burning the shields to protect Sableye, knowing that Sableye was potentially the best opportunity they had to take out the Azumarill before it would have to get in a pretty bad spot there, with the Medicham still hanging out in the back. And then, of course, really happy to see the Galarian Sunfisk in the back. But I do think that we may see a slightly different tact here. Maybe like he could bring in the Trevenant to try and have a little bit better of an Azumarill matchup. But then you have to be a little bit scared of some of the other Pokemon, right? So maybe I think I'd like to see Trevenant here from Rad, but haven't picked it so far, so maybe we aren't going to see it.
I don't know if Trevenant's going to make an appearance here. We did see Grimy Danny lock in the Umbreon as well, so the Sableye lead feels a little risky, but we might see another swap into Registeel. Great safe swap here for Radnitsky in the series so far. Decisive game 3. This is going to determine who moves on. It looks like Galarian Stunfisk lead into Sableye.
Yeah, this is definitely a pretty decent matchup for the Galarian Stunfisk, although Sableye not out of it at all because it's still going to be able to throw these foul plays really, really fast, and it is going to do a fair amount of damage there. We can see the back lines with the Registeel and the Medicham hanging out in the back for Rad. First foul play coming through here, and I have no idea what's going on back there. Something exciting it seems. We see this Earthquake coming through. Do we see the Protect Shield from Rad?
Early on in the matchup, the Stunfisk goes for that Earthquake. More trainers do it than not because the bait, again, is so hard to recover from. We're going to see the Sableye build a lot of energy, trying to throw right before the Earthquake gets there, forces the shield. What are we going to see here, Steve? Because if you look at this backline from Grimy Danny, the Sableye is so critical for Radnitsky's success.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, it feels like you maybe, do you burn another Protect Shield? Here you do. Wants to keep this Sableye, recognizing that it is definitely a really strong Pokemon. Knows it can do a lot of work up against this team. We actually see Grimy Danny swap out into the Azumarill, and an interesting swap into Registeel. I feel like traditionally we feel like Registeel is like a bad matchup against Azumarill because Hydro Cannon really scary, but not only is there no Hydro Cannon here, but now we have Registeel with the Zap Cannon able to do a big chunk of damage. And not only that, but reduce the attack even more. Now, I mean, we've seen that player just get thrown straight away, so maybe revealing the hand that there is no Hydro Pump on this Azumarill, which definitely puts Registeel in a really nice spot. And if you're the Azu, you just don't need a shield there. You know that you don't want to get out of there.
Now, the last second swap out is also critical for Radnitsky because it gives him alignment, something that we saw him lose really badly in game 1 and then take control of in game 2. And we might see that same situation play out because of Registeel, again, like you said, it doesn't really have to worry about Hydro Pump because of that post-bubble nerf. Azumarill is not dealing much fast move damage. He no-bubbles the Zap Cannon. Steve is going to look for a vicious lock-on down, but he doesn't even get there because Zap Cannon is way too OP.
Really, I mean, we saw some lock-on downs in Indianapolis, I think. It was definitely a lot of fun over there, but we've got the Registeel still chugging away, going to try and get a Zap Cannon off to reduce the attack of this Trevenant, and this time is able to get there before the charge comes through. A little bit of a phone freeze from Grimy Danny. I'm assuming that is only of the stream side. There we go. Trevenant getting that attack debuffed, and now only needs to throw a little bit of energy to take this Registeel out. So going to take the opportunity to farm up even more so that he can throw the move straight away onto the back. I feel like he could have farmed up a little bit more there, maybe.
It's so hard to count late game. We don't know where the Reggie's energy is at, and we did see the Shadow Ball. This is tough, right? Because now the Sableye comes in and drops an immediate foul play. I think Radnitsky is in a dominant position at this juncture in the match.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no Protect Shields left on either side here.
Well?
Ooh, wait a minute. We see the Shadow Ball coming
Wait
through.
a minute.
Hold up. The game is not over yet. We see the Shadow Ball coming through, and oh my gosh, Sableye. Oh my gosh. Hang on. I think that Trevenant...
Counter down Trevenant?
I think that's exactly what we're about to
Counter down Trevenant?
Oh
Medicham! Defying the odds. Punches all the way through the Ghost Grass type Trevenant. Out comes the Galarian Stunfisk, and he ice punches and puts a freeze on Grimy Danny's ambitions. Cool off, Danny. It looks like Radnitsky's headed to the losers finals.
Wow. That is truly incredible stuff there. I mean, that... Oh. Oh, that's incredible. I mean, Radnitsky, huge props, and just really good counting on all parts. And as said before, I can bring the bracket straight up because we are going to be jumping into the next battle relatively quickly, I think, because it is going to be the next one stored up. Oh, this is the wrong one. Where are we? We actually wanted to do that one. There we go.
Nice.
So Radnitsky is going to be going right on ahead up against Magic Mason in the losers grand final. So again, we are jumping back to best of 5. So Magic Mason is going to have to get another 3 games to get a second chance to take on Dunebug again in the winners finals. Or Grimy Danny, who got defeated back in. Hang on, I can scroll the bracket. over here. Grimy Danny, way back in round 1, lost to Relaxed Lemurs 2-0. Then had to come back through, beat Dragon Green, beat Jiggly Dad, beat Kaiser Tenor, beat Battle Bill, and is now taking... did I just read Grimy Danny through the bottom there? I think I did. I did.
Look, if you highlight, you can see the whole path.
Wow. Rat. Oh, no. Okay. Hold it up. There we go. So lost to Patball in the first round. Then it took out Latuyu in the next round. Then beat Relaxed Lemurs, who was the one who just lost to Junebug in that second round that we saw a little bit earlier, I believe. Maybe, actually, no, we saw Magic Mason versus Kaiser, didn't we? Then, of course, we went ahead and got a 2-0 against Patball. And now we see that 2-1 up against Grimy Danny before we jump into this very, very final matchup in the losers bracket. Magic Mason versus I'm picking up too much of an American accent. Rad Nixie, one of these battlers who will be going through to go up in
Steve.
Speedy.
So sorry, I was going to ask if you could do us a favor. Where did Radnitsky fall to the losers bracket? Was it round 1? Was it round 2?
Radnitsky fell to the losers bracket in round 1 up against Patball, who I think actually, oh my gosh, this is actually really interesting. I'm going to bring the bracket back up to show this because, boom, 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 boom. So, Radnitsky lost in the first round, up against Patball 2-1. Then fought to the losers bracket, and then beat Patball again later on in the losers bracket after Patball lost to Magic Mason with a 2-0 victory. So able to get the revenge all the way from the first round before going ahead, taking down Grimy Danny, and then going through to this losers final. So that's actually a really, really fun to see, and not something you see. I feel like you don't see it very often in these sorts of setups where you see it a lot more often when you've got like the winner, the champion at the end, because that's where people are sort of both headed to, but regardless, I think go ahead, sorry.
I'm so sorry, Steve. I think Radnitsky lost round 1, and he said, all right, I'm done losing. I'm done losing for the rest of the day. That was my one. And he just climbed his way through the bracket. I just want to juxtapose his position versus Magic Mason's, because we saw Mason make it to round 4 of the winner's bracket and fall to Dunebug in a very exciting set. So Mason is going to meet Radnitsky, who basically has clawed their way through the bracket since the beginning of this tournament after falling in round 1. I mean, it's a very different storyline for these two trainers. And if we do see a Magic Mason victory over Radnitsky, we're going to get a rematch of the round 4 Dunebug versus Magic Mason for the finals.
We are indeed. And now we're going to have to find... Okay, here's the teams again. 1, 2. There's Rad. That's Grimy Danny. This is so much paperwork, guys. We've got Radnitsky's team here, as we just saw before. With the... Oh, there we go. With the Shadow Swampert and the Purified Sableye coming in again, alongside that Trevenant, the Metacham, what did I say? The Walrein and the Registeel. And then...
Yes, perfect.
And then Mason's team, which is definitely around here. There it is. Got Magic Mason's team. Yeah. Oh, no, too close. Zoom out.
There you go.
With that classic...
Umbreon, Swampert, Alola Ninetales, Skarmory, Stunfisk, Galarian, and Deoxys Arrow Defense Form.
The arrow is very important, chat. You cannot forget the arrow. But it looks like... these 3 cards that I hold in my hand are the final 3 players that can win this $300 tournament. We have the 2 players that we're about to see now, and one of them will take on Junebug as well. So really looking forward to see all of these battles coming up shortly. It looks like we have both teams locked in, and we are ready. Oh, sorry, both phones are locked in.
Oh, let's go.
Ready to go as soon as all good skis. But I will move Radnitsky apparently. They've had a name change because I can't type. It does seem. We can fix that. We can fix that.
You did see Magic Mason catching a Rowlet. I'm not a political guy, of course, right? I don't talk about politics on the streams, but we need justice for Decidueye. Decidueye with Razor Leaf. Come on, we can do better. We can do better than that. We need a good fast move, some good charge moves. Decidueye deserves better.
Now, actually, but as I was playing Community Day here in Pittsburgh, Speedy, right at the end, just before 2 p.m., I think it was 1:59, there was a minute left in the com day. There was a lure right near us, right nearby, setting around. We were sort of doing a little bit of a competition to see who had the heaviest Geodude, and we saw nothing but a 100% Rowlet, still just hanging out there. Oh no, too blurry. Rowlet 100 right
no
at the
way.
lure. And Looks like we are going to be jumping in, though, to this, again, best of 5 scenario in the Losers Grand Final here. Take it away.
All right, best of 5 Defense Form Theoxys lead into the Registeel. This is pretty positive for that DD, as this is going to deal some super effective counter damage. We also see a very classic line here from Magic Mason. I believe this has appeared on the Smash King stream, Defense Form Deoxys plus double dogs. We have the 4-legged Umbreon and Alola Ninetales behind it.
Exactly right. We've got the first Thunderbolt coming through here. Just going to do a fair chunk of damage there onto that Registeel. Now just the return back with the Zap Cannon. Unfortunately for Radnixki, not able to get that charge move off to get the attack debuff beforehand, but still reduces the defense. Deoxys swaps into Swampert, and here we have Charm Alola Ninetales. This could be really good here if we see this one charge move come through from Swampert. Oh no, we see a bait.
You do see the Swampert using a charge attack, and it gets the shield from the Alola Ninetales. Gotta respect that Shadow boost. Shadow Swampert Sludge Wave is so dangerous. He's gonna get to one more. I think Mason knows it. He knows it's a Hydro Steve.
Yeah, no need to burn any Protect Shields out here when there is no chance it is a Sludge Wave. But look how much damage that does with the Shadow bonus. Absolutely huge. Not leaving a lot of health to be farmed off of this Alola Ninetales. But this does raise the question. Are we about to see a lock-on down?
I think we see a full lock-on down. Here comes Registeel.
Oh my gosh. Please tell us we're about to see a lock-on down. Please, please.
Oh my goodness. Alola Ninetales kind of, as I like to say, screaming into the void, throwing resistant weather balls, resistant side shocks as the Registeel bears down on it. This is actually going to get kind of close and competitive, though. Look at the Registeel. Might be forced to shield here, Steve.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like, yeah, does have to shield there. So not quite able to get a super clean lock-on all the way down, but I think we're now going to see that lock-on. Oh! Simultaneous swap!
Counter swap!
Gosh. This is not good for Magic Mason at all. Trevenant is not what Deoxys wanted to see at all, Speedy. Oh, man.
We did see the counter swap into Defense Form Deoxys, trying to sneak in a counter, take down the Registeel. Denies it, though. Here comes that Trevenant. And again, Trevenant clawing its way through. And it's got to face an Umbreon here.
Ooh, this is a little bit rough. Well, look, we've got a little bit of energy on that Trevenant, so we're going to be able to throw a few C-bombs. Not going to do a ton of damage, but certainly going to start to add up. And we have the tiniest little bit of a Registeel in the back as well. So this is not looking great for Radnixki. There's always, as we've seen again and again, the chance of getting that caught charge move to just essentially act as that third Protect Shield on the Registeel. But even then, I have a feeling this Trevenant isn't going to be able to push all the way through to take this Umbreon out, Speed.
This is going to be pretty tough. This is very uphill for Trevenant. Actually recognizing the odds are too stacked against them. Lets it go. Comes in with the Registeel now. Reggie doesn't have a lot of health, though. He's got to get another Focus Blast and then deal with that very low Ninetales in the back. This is going to be down to the wire.
Yeah, getting really close here, but still with the one Protect. Oh my gosh, we get the Focus Blast. Is this going to take out Umbreon?
Registeel needs to kill, excuse me, not kill, but knock out with 2 lock-ons. Can he do it? Registeel can't get there. Alola Ninetales.
Oh, wow.
Slides by.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
My goodness. Pokemon don't die, Steve. They just get KO'd. They just faint.
That's what the Pokemon Center's for, ladies and gentlemen. Just to head right on back there. But also, it's sort of seeming like we've managed to pick. I picked up game audio back from someone, and I'm not. Somehow the stream volume reset back up to 70%. I have no idea how that happened, but we've brought it back down, chat. So let me know if you do still hear game audio. I think it should be right. I think. Oh no, chat's not going to let you forget that you said the K word, Speedy. This is big O. SpeediestChief has been cancelled on this day. I can't believe it.
Did, yeah. I'm now unemployed, so.
Oh no. This is bad for all of us gamers. We have to get him right back in there. But regardless. Okay, so obviously we saw Umbreon getting that really nice spot against Trevenant again, as we saw a little bit earlier. I feel like that means that we are going to see Umbreon come in again to try and secure that matchup. But it looks like Rad is still trying to bring that Trevenant in. Really good against that defense Deoxys if it can land it there. But other than that, it's kind of not awesome. I guess it's also got some play up against Swampert. But I can't imagine Swampert getting a lot of play up against Radnixki's team in the first place, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's very, very tough. You have to target something. You look for the grass. You look for what isn't on your opponent's team. When you see the Trevenant again on the right side, a little bit of late switch here, going with a lot of Pokemon. Two more Pokemon with four legs, being the Umbreon and the Swampert. Locking in here, Magic Mason wanting to try and close out this series. Niski taking a few more moments to lock in. I think the Trevenant is very viable. I think it's good to steer away from the Registeel lead, but we'll have to see what they decide to do in the final seconds here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Radnick is still taking his time, really thinking about what he wants to bring into these last games, really wants to push through here, and we are locking in with that team, as we saw right there. So we'll be jumping straight into it, and we are going to be seeing that Umbreon come into the lead up against the Shadow Swampert. We've seen how much damage this Shadow Swampert can do, and it can definitely get it out really fast as well with that Mudshot Hydro Cannon combo. So definitely pretty scary on both sides, but if you look at the back line, Speedy, we've got the Swampert, which is going to be pretty decent up against not only the Registeel, but the Medicham as well, and the Galarian Sunfish, which is also going to be good. And we see a catch of a foul play into Registeel. Interesting save swap.
This is a little bit difficult, right? Because you swap in the Registeel, you bring out the Galarian Stunfisk here, you probably will draw the shield with the Focus Blast because the single Earthquake is not quite enough. But after the foul play, it might actually be enough. So we're going to see here the Focus Blast come through from Registeel.
Yeah, definitely going to do an absolute buttload of damage here. Bring it right down into the red. Farm up, farm up, farm up. Galarian Sunfisk doesn't have to throw anytime soon. Now throwing the Earthquake to try and do that big damage onto the Registeel. But the question is, do we see a Protect Shield? No. No shields coming up today. Registeel going bye-bye. So what do we see come back in here? You can go by the way, right?
You know, I think the Medicham is looking very strong for Radnitsky here in the late game. Let's see if he decides to bring in the Swampert. No, comes in with the Medicham, but look, you're almost getting to the Earthquake. This is mid-game counting. Radnitsky needs to make a call here, and he makes the call, Steve. It's a Rock Slide. No shot.
Really, really good counting from Radnitsky, knowing that it's a Rock Slide. Going to do nothing to that Medicham. Not quite able to get to that Earthquake, and definitely the right move to bring that in. We see the Swampert coming in from the other side, and we know there is an Umbreon in the back from Magic Mason as well. So I'm sort of wondering how this is going to go. It's going to depend. Are we going to see a Protect Shield come up here? Oh, no! Oh, that stings. Youch. No defense either.
Medicham. Oh, and we see a switch as well, making the switch into Swampert. But was this a mistake, though? Because now you might be forced to shield. Do we see the shield come up? No! Shadow Swampert loses so much health.
Wow, that is really hurtful. Going for the Hydro Cannon, tried to get it in there. Still two Protect Shields up on Magic Mason's side. Going to decide to burn the first one here, and then swap into the Umbreon. Almost at a charge move, but so is Swampert. So Swampert going to get his charge move off first, and going to burn that second and last Protect Shield from Magic Mason before we see it potentially get a little bit more energy before throwing a charge move.
I think this is... See, this is such great awareness from Magic Mason. Going for the Snarl down doesn't quite get it. This is such great awareness, though, because you want to think in terms of relative damage. We know the Shadow Swampert Hydro Cannon does more than any charge move from Medicham, so shielding the first one is great. Is it a drawback, though, that the second one comes through? I think that he was banking on that Snarl down.
Yeah, definitely was hoping for it, because now this Umbreon doesn't have a lot of health going into this Medicham matchup, and still two Protect Shields up on Radnitsky's side, obviously getting the first one here. Here comes another foul play, and as you were talking about relative damage, I think that potentially this is the spot that you might want to burn it, using a foul play up against this Medicham. You'll let that one come through. That Swampert is still hanging around in the back, but the switch time is not up quite yet. And oh my gosh, CMP going towards the Medicham, definitely not what Umbreon wants to see, but this still isn't going to take it out. Umbreon is going to get this foul play off.
I think you want to time your switch here. We did see a CMP there. You don't want the Medicham's counter to apply to the Swampert because it is already such low health. So you need to really pick your swap carefully here. We do see, oh, Medicham loses a lot of HP. Why would you no-shield that attack, Steve?
I don't,
he brings in the Swampert!
Oh,
Mudshot combo!
Oh, wow. The Mudshot combo, that is not something you see every day, chat. Mudshot, even at a charge move. Oh my god.
Wow, I think recognizing Swampert still had a charge attack, it makes a lot of sense at Radnitsky with no shield. The foul play from the Umbreon, but just too much charge move pressure coming from Magic Mason. He's able to get the better of Rad there.
Yeah, and of course, you know, this is a best of 5, so we're still chugging along. No one has come out the victor yet. This is the second, or potentially second to last series there is, of course, always the opportunity that we see a bracket reset when one of these two battlers does face Dunebug up in the grand finals. But either way, one of these two battlers, and these are two really, really great battlers, they're doing some incredible swaps, some incredible catches at every single turn they can. Really, really good move counting, which I think is really just like, it's so simple. Obviously, everyone knows that move counting is such an important thing for Pokemon Go PvP, but it really is something that if you want to improve and you don't quite have the move counts in your head, I think that's probably a really good area to start, just because it really does give you a really big leg up in pretty much any matchup you sort of find yourself in, especially if you just learn the moves as opposed to the Pokemon in particular. So, you know, if any Pokemon has that Powder Snow, you know, I mean, it takes a little bit more work, a little bit more maths, which maybe some people might want to be up against, but if you think of the numbers, it works for some people. No pressure.
Exactly right. So we're going to see this lead situation play out. Dominant lead for Radnitsky as he leads a Registeel into the Alola Ninetales. I suspect we see a Swampert safe swap here. No, we see the switch out, and we do see the Umbreon facing against the Medicham now. I think things are going Radnitsky's way early on in the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely where Radnitsky sort of wants the Medicham based on what we see in the back there. We can see that there is the Defense Deoxys and the Alolan Ninetales over on Magic Mason's side. We saw before that Magic Mason is running Charm on that Alolan Ninetales, which a Medicham definitely does not want to see at all. So really, really nice for Radnitsky to just get the Medicham in a position where it doesn't have to face that Charm damage, for sure. So just keep on chugging along, doing a big old damage, and I guess just waiting. Trying to win switch advantage is probably pretty important, right?
I think it's very important. It's very hard to wrestle that away when you have a matchup like this, and your opponent knows that. Radnitsky knows he wants a Registeel versus that Alola Ninetales, so I think he's willing to invest shields. He's willing to invest resources to protect the Medicham, and I don't think he's going to let it slip away from him in this matchup, so he might need to see some swaps late game in order to try to flip this scenario for Magic Mason.
No, absolutely. I think that this foul play is... Oh, do we see a shield? Okay, it was protect shield at the last moment there. I just hear that Medicham around. Now going to see that counter down. Not quite going to get to another foul play on that Umbreon. And now, yeah, we see Ninetales come in. It's going to take a bit of damage from this Psychic. This is actually okay for Radnitsky. It does mean that Registeel is going to take out Ninetales a bit quicker, I suppose. Only one move required.
Yes.
But we see...
Reaching for that Defense Form Deoxys. All right, we see the Registeel come out. We do see the Swampert in response. I love the Shadow Swampert here. I'm kind of curious, would you stay in and throw a Zap Cannon first, though, recognizing the Deoxys is switch locked? I guess not, because then the DD is too far ahead in terms of energy. No shielding the first Hydro Cannon, Steve.
Okay, so just keep... That does a lot of damage, though. So we've charged up to a lot of Psycho Boost damage here, so going to keep throwing it the other way. Obviously, we know in these matchups, the shielding up the first Psycho Boost is always a nice thing to do, just because it's going to get attack debuff, but lets it go. That really, really hurts. Maybe just trying to get to one Hydro Cannon before leaving this all to Registeel, and it gets a Protect Shield out from Magic Mason. So really just going to leave it all to Registeel in the back to take this out.
I think we're looking for a counter down here, and he's able to get it. Now, the trick here, Steve, is that there's about 15 seconds left on the switch clock. You want to throw a move here with your Defense Form Deoxys, switch out, reset the debuff, and try to deal some super effective counters.
Absolutely. Switch timing is now up. Perfect timing. Able to bring in the Alola Ninetales. These lock-ons, I mean, again, it could be a case where we see a lock-on down, but those charms really are going to be adding up, and I think Ninetales is a little bit healthy there, so most likely going to be trying to get a charge move off at some point here. Wanting to keep Registeel healthy enough where when that Deoxys does come back in, it's not going to counter it too fast. You see that Registeel there went up to 100 energy, so that it does have its best chance of taking out both this Ninetales and the Deoxys in the back. Is it going to happen here? There is still a Protect Shield on both sides. Oh dear.
I think this is Mason's game, Steve. I think you just need to build to a double Psycho Boost here. You break the first shield. We do see the Zap Cannon come through here, trying to slow down the counters, deal some lock-on damage, but I think Defense Form Deoxys has a great shot here.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The attack is going to go down there, but oh, we have the Psycho Boost coming through, so this one is presumably going to break that shield, and then we just need to tap on that next Psycho Boost that should take out the Registeel, even being resisted, even after getting one Psycho Boost attack debuff to
Thunderbolt. Oh. Thunderbolt! Look at the command. Magic Mason showing the mastery over the Defense Form Deoxys, stacks a Psycho Boost and a Thunderbolt. Even though you are debuffed from the Zap Cannon and the Psycho Boost, you still have enough to shock the Registeel and upset what was a very hard counter matchup from the beginning.
Yeah, and doing a really, really incredible job. Again, this is the winners grand... Is it grand finals? Winners finals. to see who is going ahead into Dunebug. And I think, has Magic Mason taken that out? Is that 3? I believe that was 3. I think.
That was 3. This is the losers final, so the winner will face Dunebug in the grand finals.
Yeah, so looks like the battle is I can't tell because they're still hanging around. I'm pretty sure that was 3. I think. It was... Oh. I'm not sure why the bracket hasn't properly up... Oh, I hadn't scrolled across. My bad. My bad. I was like, hang on a minute. Why does the bracket say it's all ended? How come this is all... Why are the scores updated so? But no, it is indeed. So we can go back over to the bracket because, again, we are going to be seeing these matchups. Fill in here, Magic Mason taking out the 3-0. Again, this was a best of 5 scenario. So Magic Mason, after getting defeated by Dunebug back in the winners semi-finals, is going to have another chance to take on Dunebug 97. Got 1 win before. Now, not only needs to get 3 wins out of 5 here in the grand finals to reset the bracket, but then needs to get another 3 wins out of 5 to take the tournament and bring home that big old cash prize. So I'm really looking forward to these battles, Steve. I mean, luckily, I have all 3 teams here, and we have now lost Radnitsky. We have 2 remaining. Oh no, I forgot I wasn't showing it. Oh man, I suck at this. Bring it back. Bring it back. Camera, go.
Come on, Steve,
camera,
be
go.
real. You don't suck at this. You're doing a lot.
I know. I'm fantastic. Positive affirmation. So, we have Magic Mason coming back in against Dunebug, as we just saw. This is the famous Defense Doxy's Arrow form team. With the Umbreon, the Swampert, the Alolan Ninetales, the Skarmory, the Galarian Stunfisk, alongside the Defense Deoxys. And of course we have Dunebug, whose team we haven't seen for a while, but is coming back onto the scene here with... We've got the Walrein, the Trevenant, the Medicham. Actually, that's Shadow Walrein, by the way, as well. We've got the Galarian Stunfisk, the Araquanid, and the Lickitung. It's been a little while since we've seen Araquanid come out to play.
Yeah, it has been a little while. It's going to be interesting to see how these two teams match up against each other, because we saw Registeel be so dominant, but we don't have that utility in Magic Mason's team. I want to mention this as well. Magic Mason's victory in the losers finals there was so impressive, and I think that a team that he's played a lot, Defense Form Deoxys, Umbreon, Alolan Ninetales, he's found ways to maneuver out of bad situations, and we saw that experience from Go Battle League really executed there in a Show 6 format, which is really refreshing to see, kind of a handshake between the two formats and how valuable your GBL experience can still be to Show 6 and this kind of tournament. So we did see Magic Mason fall to Dunebug prior. This is the grand finals, and that means a lot, Steve. It means not only are we headed to a best of 5, but Dunebug 97 is essentially Gary in this situation, and Magic Mason is Ash, the challenger. Gary is standing there with his arms crossed. He says, what are you going to do about it? You have to beat me twice. You have to beat me in 2 best of 5s, because the first best of 5 is to reset the bracket, and the second best of 5 is to take the grand final championship.
And once again, chat, they're sitting right there. It is all happening right there, right live, right behind me. Everyone's ready to watch their battles come out live. I think there's a few people that have got the live stream open on their phone as well, so they can see both phones at once. Very exciting times. We've got Magic Mason sitting right there, and I think Dunebug is hidden behind, right back there. But we've actually got both teams locking in straight away, so we're actually getting ready to go. The first game of the grand finals in this best of 5. I'm seriously looking forward to this, Steve.
All right, and we are in it. We do see Magic Mason leading that Defense Form Deoxys into Dunebug's Trevenant. Tough lead, making the swap out into Skarmory, answered by the Galarian Stunfisk here, Steve.
This is really not where Magic Mason wanted to start this game at all. This is going from bad to bad here. Galarian Stunfisk, as we've seen again and again in this tournament, has some moves to throw at this Skarmory, to say the least. So this Skarmory definitely not going to love its time here, but maybe we'll see a few Brave Birds get thrown off before it does end up going down. Or maybe we just see Sky Attacks. One way to find out. Always at 100 energy, so you have to throw something now. It's the Sky Attack.
To throw something, we do see the Sky Attack. Both trainers attempting to play the long game here. You want to deal some damage. You don't want to throw the Brave Bird too soon, because it would do some significant damage, but you're going to drop your defense. And then Stunfisk needs fewer Rock Slides to secure the KO. So again, it looks a little bit slow, but these trainers are kind of feeling each other out. And this is actually not that great for the Fist, because it will exit with just a little bit of HP. But I think that's also part of the plan, Steve, because you can anticipate the Defense Form Deoxys coming back out. You don't want to give it a lot of energy, because we've we've seen Mason with energy. Even when he's hard countered, he can really command matchups. The Brave Bird finally comes through, and I will take a breath.
Oh dear, we've got the wrong side coming on into, well, now the defense drops come through, going to take that Skarmory right on down. As he said, here comes that defense form Deoxys that is going to try and counter all the way down there. We do get an Earthquake coming through here though, and no Protect Shield coming up on Magic Mason's end. So this is still going to do a fair amount of damage there, knowing, again, Magic Mason knows that there is a Trevenant in the back for Doonbug. So they're sort of both going like, oh, I don't want this Pokemon to survive too long. So letting it take the big hit before throwing a Psycho Boost. Presumably, we see a swap out here to try and see what Doonbug's back Pokemon is that Magic Mason has not seen yet. Oh no, has seen yet. Has not seen yet. It's the Shadow Walrein.
Ooh. He might be in a forward shield scenario here. We know that the Walrein wants to throw the same attack bonus Icicle Spears. It's a Shadow Walrein as well, so it will threaten this Umbreon faster than the regular variation would. We do see the first one come through here, and you kind of get a gauge of how much damage it's going to do. I think Umbreon needs to be careful, though, because the Walrein will outpace.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a fair bit of energy sitting on Umbreon's side, so it definitely isn't an awful spot here, but that Icicle Spear definitely coming through just that tiny little bit faster. Going to bring the Umbreon down into the yellow if this one lands, but Magic Mason does decide to burn that first Protect Shield, and I don't think that is going to be the last shield that is burned in this matchup for sure. Another foul play, and there's the shield in return. Just going to trade. This matchup is just going to whittle down closer and closer and closer. And as you said, that Walrein having that little bit of an edge, that slight outpacing, might mean this could be Doonbug's matchup. But you have to remember that there's always the chance that the switch timer comes up. There's the chance for more switches, more crazy plays, but it's all going to be a little bit risky here, because now, do you try and catch an Icicle Spear on defense Deoxys? Or do you just try and keep...
I think that's the play.
I mean, otherwise...
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the play. Let's see, making the switch out, reaching for the defense form. Deoxys trying to outpace the Trevenant. Does he get to the Psycho Boost? It's a CMP tie here, Steve. DD has to hang on here. This is a huge measurement for Mason, and he protects, shields up that defense form Deoxys.
Wants to keep this round, wants to get this Psycho Boost off, wants to bring this Trevenant down just that little bit, even though this is not going to do a ton of damage because Trevenant does have that Ghost typing. Psycho Boost being such a big old busted move, still doing a lot of stuff there. Trevenant now going to quite just take out that defense Deoxys, throwing the Seed Bomb to take... Ooh, is this going to be enough? I don't think quite.
I think it's just barely not enough, but it's so critical because he let that defense from Deoxys get an additional counter. That means that Umbreon does not get a huge farm down. Wow. Simul KO, and that Shadow Walrein in Doonbug's back pocket secures him game 1 victory. I think the critical moment there, Steve, you have to know how much damage the Seed Bomb does to the defense from Deoxys. If you can no shield there, if you can absorb the Seed Bomb, get off the Psycho Boost, you are able to bring out Umbreon with shields, with one shield and kind of control the matchup. But we are already locked in. Mason is rocked. He is ready to go, and he is rocking and rolling for game 2.
Yeah, Magic Mason is like, okay, I see what you did there. I've gained this material. We played 4 games before when Doonbug won out 3-1. This is the exact same team. So this is essentially sort of, that was game 5. Doonbug was able to take that one out as well. So we're now going to go to sort of a bit of a game 6. But this is game 2 of the best of 5 series. So they've been able to feel each other out a little bit. I think Magic Mason has a strategy that he definitely wants to apply here. And it's just about putting it into action to make sure it works. Now, we do have a much better lead for Magic Mason here with the defense Deoxys going into that Galarian Sunfisk, and actually Doonbug bringing that Lickitung back in this time. So interesting to see. This is definitely going to be a slightly different matchup than we saw before, but defense Deoxys is going to keep chugging away, and here is that first Earthquake coming through from Galarian Sunfisk.
This is a double down for Magic Mason. We did see that Trevenant lead, and he does shield up that Earthquake early on in the matchup, making the switch, though. Doonbug wants to play for shield advantage, but to go back to the point, he led Deoxys in the first game. He leads it again here, doubling down, testing Doonbug's resilience, and he does land the Thunderbolt here on the Lickitung.
Yeah, it doesn't do an absolute buttload of damage, but when you add it up with the counters, it is going to bring that Lickitung really low and catching the Body Slam onto the Skarmory. Absolutely brilliant play from Magic Mason there. Going to do barely any damage at all. Really just wasting that charge move damage from the Lickitung. Really, really nicely done there. And Lickitung is a little bit walled up against this Skarmory, Speedy.
It's going to have a tough time for sure, and I like the control there by Magic Mason. Again, he's shown his resilience, that he wants to stay in this matchup, that he deserves to be here in the grand finals in Pittsburgh this weekend, and he does land that body slam again. Like you said, not going to apply a lot of pressure, but it looks like the Skarmory will try to strike back, but the Lickitung has such staying power in these matchups, Steve.
Yeah, this Skarmory is just hanging on. It's going to keep on going. It's going to get another charge move off here in a second. Almost at it. Oh my gosh, and we see another catch, this time from Dunebug. Catching the Sky Attack onto Galarian Stunfisk. Dunebug was like, I saw your catch to resist the damage. Here's mine. This is truly a battle of the greats in the grand finals here. And now Skarmory just going to have to charge up. Oh my gosh, up to the Brave Bird and swap into Defense Deoxys. These are some really good plays, Speedy.
Did you see Mason reaching all over his screen, not knowing the timing? He stayed in the extra. Oh, Shields and Earthquake again. He stayed in those extra few turns against a Lickitung, and that displaced his switch timer. And now Dunebug has 2 shields advantage. Defense Form Deoxys is switch locked, and it's going to start throwing Psycho Boost here, Steve. This is really rough because if you anticipate a hard counter to Deoxys coming out, it is pinned here, and here comes the Trevenant.
This is really, really not good for Magic Mason at all. This Psycho Boost, as we saw before, except this actually, I was going to say it doesn't do much damage as we saw before. That's an attack debuffed already, Defense Deoxys, so it does even less. And just throwing Psycho Boost after Psycho Boost, maybe just trying to whittle down that switch timer a little bit. Maybe trying to, okay, excuse me, we see a Protect Shield coming. Is Dunebug playing silly buggers here? Have we just burned a Protect Shield for no reason? We're going for another Psycho Boost, barely hanging on. No shield this time from Dunebug, but regardless, we see the. I guess you see the Skarmory come here. Oh, either way.
No, I think we see Umbreon straight away.
Yeah, I guess the.
Yeah, and.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm just going to point out the trick here is that Dunebug already did spin his shield, trying to maintain some health on the. The Trevenant here. I do think. It's going to be tough because Snarl is super effective. It's going to pile on here slowly, but this energy advantage is going to give him some play. He also has a Lickitung, which I think is outside of Snarl range, so that swap in is also a play here for him.
Yeah, and really interesting, Magic Mason charging up a little bit of extra energy, which is allowing Dunebug to go for this Seed Bomb here. I think both players trying to scope each other out. You know, obviously Dunebug. Oh my gosh, this guy.
Incredible swaps by both trainers. No bubbling. The foul play. Was that a mistake here by Magic Mason? He's got to throw another one. I think if you throw some bubbles there, maybe you don't have to do this second foul play. But here we see Lickitung is impending on the body slam here, and here it comes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he was hoping that he got the shield with that last charge move, and that's why he didn't go for the bubbles. Maybe just assumed that we was going to get a shield. I'm not sure, but going to keep Umbreon alive a little bit.
Do we see a Snarl down here?
I don't think we can see a Snarl down. We see a lick down before we see a Snarl down.
Oh, reaching for the Skarmory! Oh. Here's the trick, Steve. Here's the trick. He banked a foul play on the Umbreon. If Trevenant does not have a move ready, he's going to secure the knockout with the next move.
Oh my gosh.
Timer!
Oh my gosh, timer.
Trevenant. 10 seconds.
Oh
Umbreon delivers the final strike. Foul play. He could even no bubble this one for the finesse. Magic Mason taking the game number 2.
Coming back, bringing it back to a 1-1. This series is not over. Best of 5. Still anyone's game here in this first grand finals. Again, Magic Mason is coming in from the losers bracket, so still has to get that one extra win, the one extra best of 5 win to bring the championship back out. Hearing many cheers and claps, I can only assume it's for this great battling here right now. I have no idea where else the cheering would be, so I'm going to guaranteed it is here. Oh, we've exited out of the trainer battle. I'm not sure. Oh, I actually lost my earphone.
I think we're seeing both trainers reset their applications, definitely wanting to freshen up those apps, reload them in so they can have the crispest, cleanest gameplay available for game 3. Now, again, this is a best of 5. And if Magic Mason is able to get the better of Dunebug in this best of 5, he's got to do it again in another best of 5. So we are just getting started in this series. Magic Mason has a long road to go, but he has proven that he deserves to be here in the grand finals.
Look, I mean, absolutely. Magic Mason really did fight back. You know, I mean, we saw how quickly Magic Mason locked in his team in that previous game too. He was really confident in what the strategy was. He was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I reckon Dunebug's going to do this. And then, you know, we saw catch after catch after catch, which really does just exemplify the fact that we are seeing some really top-level battles here. Obviously, Dunebug as that world champion, but those lock-ins.
So sorry, Steve. I can't even contain myself. Magic Mason does not fear the Trevenant. Look at this team. Defense Form Deoxys and Swampert. No fear of Trevenant, and he picks up a great lead into the Walrein, forces the swap into Lickitung. How does he respond here?
Oh, this is really interesting because ideally you would want to keep that defense Deoxys for the Swampert, for the Walrein, sorry. So now getting a little bit of energy before swapping out into the Skarmory. Skarmory definitely, again, not going to take a lot of damage from these body slams from the Lickitung. Just going to slowly add up over time with Skarmory generally able to just keep on putting a bit more pressure onto the Lickitung, even though it does take a little bit of time. A few little air slashes to get those sky attacks going, but Lickitung definitely going to slowly have its health whittled down.
Lickitung trying to slow down this matchup, a little bit of a tough lead for Doombug, wanting to stay in as long as he can. You see a Sky Attack, coming through here from the Skarmory. No shield by Doombug after building to Brave Bird energy. I like the control here as well. And we are going to see maybe another Body Slam come through here any second.
Yeah, here it comes. It's not going to take this Skarmory out still. No need to shield from Magic Mason's side. Going to be able to tank this just fine and then get to another charge move that would take this Lickitung out if there's no Protect Shields. Are we going to... Whoa, we're going way down to the wire here. What is going on? Is Magic Mason going for a strategy of getting a bit of energy on this Lickitung here? Whoa.
It's a great lead, Steve. Gives up switch.
I don't know what's going on. We've got
it's a great lead.
Oh my gosh.
It's a solid swap.
Look at both of Doombug's back line. It's Walrein and Galarian Sunfish. This defense Deoxys is going to go on an absolute tear. Maybe getting that counter is going to give it the chance to do an absolute buttload of damage. But going for the Psycho Boost, debuffing the attack, swapping out into the Zombie, which is still still pretty good up against both the Walrein and the Galarian Sunfish with these Sludge Waves. But actually throwing the Hydro Cannon before actually quite getting up to a Sludge Wave this time.
I think definitely a lot of play here for Swampert and for the defense form Deoxys. Going to land that first Hydro Cannon, does not secure the shield, just opting for the resisted Hydro Cannon because it's so powerful. He wants to pile on as much damage as possible. Like you said, Steve, I think defense form Deoxys looks great here in the latter part of this matchup, but there's still 4 Protect Shields in play, and we know defense form Deoxys needs to protect itself from some of these attacks that are coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, at least Defense Deoxys is definitely a Pokemon that's relying a little bit more on its counter damage than it is its charge move damage. So it is going to have to try and get the Stunfisk down as fast as possible because that Stunfisk is going to be able to just get to charge move after charge move after charge move. Interesting, getting the shield off the Hydro Cannon there, wanting to keep this Walrein around to get a charge move off onto this Defense Deoxys, trying to get a shield out here, actually going for the Icicle Spear bait and getting the charge. I guess not so much a bait, it's still a really good move. And we've got a chance of getting a second one off here.
Nexus switch saves that second Icicle Spear for a rainy day. We do see the Galarian Stunfisk come back in, throwing the Earthquake. Doombug applying so much pressure here as this move does go through. Defense form Deoxys suddenly in the red. It looks so good, Steve, but now it might be in Mudshot range.
Yeah, I think that Magic Mason was really hoping that was a Rock Slide bait and that the Defense Deoxys was going to be able to survive that. But now that shield's going to come through. We could almost see a Mud Shot down here, I feel. Almost. And we do. We see the Mud Shot down. And Doombug pushing back up to a 2-1 in this best of 5 series. Only needs to win 1 of the next 2 games. And he becomes the champion of this tournament, taking home that $300 cash prize pool. So this is getting really tight. Magic Mason needs to win hard in these next 2 games.
Magic Mason needs to kind of conjure up some win conditions here in the latter part of the grand finals first set. He needs to win 3 straight, right? Or 2 straight.
Or 2 straight.
Straight to try to to try to bring this back, as we were tied up after the first 2 games. Now Doombug in the lead. So it's going to be interesting to see. He is already locked in. He's so fast at locking in here, Steve. Umbreon, Ninetales, defense form Deoxys. Might we see some Araquanid action from Doombug 97 here?
This is going to be a big switch up if we do see this coming out. And I'm really hoping that we do see this gameplay. Definitely one of the newer Pokemon that has joined the Great League field. And it looks like it is coming in here. Oh my gosh, I'm ready to see it. And right off the bat too, we're going into the lead. Again, Doombug only needs to win 1 more game to take out this entire tournament. Araquanid going into the Umbreon. And oh my gosh, this is exactly what you said earlier. Araquanid, this is not exactly where Umbreon wants to be. But my gosh, that spider is big, Speedy. It's like Australia
huge.
all over again.
If you have arachnophobia, you might want to look away from the screen for a few moments here, because Araquanid is so imposing, just bearing down on the Dark-type Umbreon. This is such a tough lead here as well, because you have a Psychic-type in the back and a Fairy-type Pokemon that if you switch it in, it's probably going to get met by a Steel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really rough spot to be in. Just going to try and throw as much foul play damage off as possible onto this Araquanid. Definitely started to get low, but, you know, we've got a lot of energy stacking up here. Interesting swap into Alola Ninetales, able to let this Galarian and Stunfisk come in. Dunebug in a really, really strong spot here. Oh, man, just going to go for the Rock Slide, and this is really going to hurt that Alola Ninetales. There's not much that it can do.
Kind of have to budget out what you're expecting to get in each of these matchups. I think Alola Ninetales knows if it doesn't use a shield, it's probably just going to land one Weather Ball, maybe two, if the Galarian Stunfisk is very, very ambitious in terms of how much energy it wants to exit the matchup with, because the energy pacing for Ninetales is so slow. Look at the Galarian Stunfisk. It already has almost 2 Rock Slides before the Ninetales even reaches the next Weather Ball.
And perfectly counting there, throwing the Rock Slide now, which would take out the Alola Ninetales. There is the option to go for a Protect Shield there, but I don't think that it's the right play. Just going to let Alola Ninetales go, bring in this Defense Deoxys and try and counter this down before it's able to do too much damage. Maybe burn a Protect Shield on... Oh, we actually see a bait come through here. Do we see the shield? Wow, that's nice. That is really good for Dunebug. If Dunebug wasn't already dominating this matchup, this just really pushes it that much further. And just for good measure, getting that next Rock Slide off as well.
The mind games are at work here. We do see that Galarian Stunfisk land a Rock Slide and grab a shield with the other one. In comes the Lickitung, recognizing Araquanid is the best answer for that Umbreon in the back. Now, we've seen this a lot from Magic Mason. He tries to move around, create some space, if you will. He's going to throw the Psycho Boost. I anticipate a switch out right for this.
Yeah, throws the Psycho Boost, gets the attack debuff, swaps back into Umbreon to try and get a little bit of energy, but straight in comes that Araquanid with the Bug Busters coming right on through that are going to do a lot of damage to this Umbreon. Down it goes. Oh my gosh, and here's that Defense Deoxys again. There are still 2 shields up on Dunebug's side. This is looking like it is all she wrote here. Going for the Bubble Wing to get the first shield. Last shield? Last shield out of... Oh my gosh.
Last shield.
A Protect Shield. But yeah, this is just GG's. Magic Mason knows it. Not throwing the charge moves, just waiting to receive this last Bubble Wing that is going to crown Dunebug 97 the champion in the Nexus League Pittsburgh tournament. And that settles that. So huge congratulations to Dunebug. We're starting to see some claps come out from back there. I'm sure we'll actually be able to get in a stream first. We're going to be able to get Dunebug to come over here live for an interview, which could be very exciting, although I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Actually, you know what? I'll leave and I'll let you interview Dunebug, because I don't think that we're
both going to be able to... You could... Sorry, go ahead, Steve. I was going to say you could just give him the headset and ask him the questions if you want to. It's up to you.
But then I need to hear the speedy questions at the same time. We can figure this out. Okay, so here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Here's the thing. The audio is also coming through this earphone right here. So me and Dunebug can share. Ooh. I've got one, he's got one. And then as far as speaking, if he sits on this side of me, this is where the microphone is, maybe we can share it and speak into the center. So we can just like go a little bit late in the tramp. We can figure this out, I believe. But Dunebug is your Nexus League Pittsburgh champion. A really, really strong battler. I'm assuming that he knows the drill by this point. He knows that it's time to come over once he's, said his GGs. They've talked it all through. I mean, look, Magic Mason played really well there. Had some really strong games and got some really strong wins through. Never got swept by Dunebug. Got a win in both when they played in the winners final and in the losers final, which really just, I think, goes to show that Magic Mason is definitely a really strong competitor and was pretty much able to take out the rest of the competition, landing in that second place as well. So really, really well done, I think, for Magic Mason. And of course, Dunebug.
Of course, I think either trainer had a really great shot to win this, and that's not just hyperbole. Magic Mason falling to the losers bracket, again, proving that he deserved to be here in the grand final stage, and Dunebug 97 just really taking control of a lot of those matchups.
Oh,
and
my
we talked about this on the onset.
Okay, we have...
All right, we did see a wild Dunebug.
So, this is going to be a really scuffed... Okay, so Dunebug, here is one earphone. One earphone. Right. I've got one earphone. We're going to share it, and then we've got this one microphone that we're going to share as well. So we're just going to be... Sounds good. We're going to be super buddy-buddy. Can you hear Dunebug, Speedy?
Yes, I can.
Speedy, what's up?
Oh, dude, congratulations. Woo! I just want to ask you, Dunebug, you made it out there to Pittsburgh. You participated in the tournament. You went all the way through that winner's bracket. How are you feeling?
I feel incredible. I didn't use that Araquanid at all throughout the whole tournament, and I busted it out in that last game.
Oh. And to go ahead, sorry.
I'm so sorry, Steve. I just wanted to ask you, Dunebug. So we saw Magic Mason lock in a team that really was not afraid of Trevenant. He led Defense Form Deoxys. He had Swampert in the back. He had brought Skarmory so often in your series against him, and you still chose to lead the Araquanid. I know you had the Lickitung safe swap, the Galarian Stunfisk in the back. What finally made you decide to bring out the Spider?
Seeing the DD and the Swampert together, because the Spider can beat both of them. And he likes the Umbreon as well, because he needed that for my Trevenant. He was expecting my Trevenant or Lickitung. So I thought I could catch him with that Spider lead right there.
Caught in a web, you could say. But I mean, look, obviously you've played
Go ahead,
really
Steve.
well. This is so interesting. I get to look this way, and Dunebug's right here.
Yeah.
How cool is that? If it's not clear, I've been excited this entire time. Finally getting to sit with the world champion Dunebug, while sitting with the world champion SpeediestChief.
I know, two major world champions.
And little old Antimatter, no world champion here. But regardless, I mean, Dunebug, you obviously played incredibly well.
Not yet.
I mean, look, we had all of these like team sheets that we were going through with all of the teams. What do you think was your most important Pokemon? I mean, I have a guess as to what you might say, but what do you think was the most important Pokemon?
Shadow Walrein. Because you look at that Skarmory matchup, my Walrein was able to take 2 shields without shielding at all. And that won me a few games right there in those 2 last finals there.
I was a really big fan of your Shadow Walrein play. I can't remember what game it was, but you essentially, I think it was in the first series, you convinced Mason that the Walrein was your best answer for Skarmory, and you left it in that matchup. You forced both shields away from the Skarmory, and then you had the Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So I think sometimes filling similar roles can be so critical, and the mind games, it really was a clinic to show a lot of new trainers how you can manipulate your opponent without revealing your back line of your Pokemon.
And I was enticing him to bring the DD to make my Trevenant stronger in the end as well, along with my Galarian Stunfisk.
Exactly right. Dunebug, I know you participated in the Indianapolis Regional. I just wanted to ask you, as the season continues, how do you make adjustments? How do you look forward to the next tournament? And obviously, you won. You're the champion of Pittsburgh here. That's a huge, huge accomplishment. It's feeling like you're back, like you're rocking and rolling. What is next for Dunebug 97?
I've been looking to see like what people have been using in these regional tournaments and the international tournaments, and potentially adjusting to the meta.
And Araquanid is part of the plan, right?
I think so, yeah. I was rolling in. I was just wanted to test this team out. I wanted to see how I would do with it.
And Dunebug's version of just testing something out is winning a $300 tournament here against some of the other best ballers in the world. I mean, we seriously saw some fantastic gameplay. I'm so not used to being able to
I know.
Speedy
seeing Steve in the flesh. I'd never expect this to happen.
Look, it's ridiculous. I mean, Speedy, when you were doing EUIC with and Caleb with Butters, how do you get used to just being able to look at the person that's sitting right here next to you? This is such a foreign experience after years of the pandemic.
It's funny, you say foreign, but I felt like going over to EUIC as soon as I saw Felix, as soon as I saw Thomas, It was like seeing an old friend that you know. And that's the experience you get at these in-person tournaments, right?
No, absolutely.
Absolutely. I love just seeing everyone's faces and just enjoying being around everyone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Steve, do you have any more questions for our champ here? I've got one more for him.
Okay, Dune. Okay, I have to ask the question. Do you think that you were running Araquanid, which obviously is really good against Trevenant and Walrein, but you were also running the Trevenant and the Walrein? Are you scared of other Araquanids popping up on other teams, or do you think you maybe have it? Do you think you have it covered with the team as you sort of ran it today?
I think I have decent play against it in general. I feel like my team can. If that is one, I am certainly worried about seeing it, but I can definitely work around it. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, certainly you've got Lickitung there with the power whip as well, that can do something.
Well, it's only neutral.
Yeah.
So Body Slam's better to throw against Araquanid.
That's why this guy.
All right, Dunebug, was going to say, I think you touched on two important things. One is reading the meta, figuring out what teams are likely, what kind of combinations of teams, and learning your matchups, your movesets, all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. Do you recommend an additional kind of tip for people that want to go compete in regionals? How should they practice? How should they study like you do?
I feel like the most important thing is knowing your energy counts. Learn how much energy each move generates, each fast move, and learn how much energy each charge move costs. Because that will help you learn how to throw your own charge moves on the perfect timing.
And that's certainly a strategy that you've been able to use quite well in
Yes.
all of these games, and every game we've seen from
Absolutely.
you. Yeah. I mean, look.
Right? I think that's all my questions. I'm really excited for what Doonbug does next.
Yeah.
I am too.
I'm sure we'll see you at a lot more Play Pokemon events
You will see me in Vancouver.
coming
One
soon.
week.
Really soon. So, you know, obviously,
Great momentum.
we've seen the great team. We've seen the great team on stream for this tournament, and it's obviously done really well. So maybe this is a starting point for some of your teams. Maybe those of you going to Vancouver can now start to go, haha, now I know Doonbug's exact team. I'm going to start countering this.
Now I'm just
But
going to copy it.
but Doonbug's one step ahead. He's already prepared for this. He knows that if you're going to copy this team, he's got you ready. He's ready. He's not going to tell you the strats. Keep it all up here. But Doonbug, huge congratulations. Obviously, you did a
you.
handshake on stream. Oh no, I've killed the earbud. But you can have it back. Maybe Speed wants to say bye. He has to be allowed to say bye.
Yeah, Doonbug. I just wanted to wish you the best.
I wish
Congratulations
you could
again
have
in
been here,
Pittsburgh.
Speedy. I wish you could have been here.
No, but hopefully I'll see you in Vancouver. I think there's a
Yes,
good chance of that.
hopefully. All right.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming
you
on,
guys
and of
for
course,
having
congratulations again, and good luck in Vancouver.
Thank you.
All right, hopping back over. Oh man.
All right, Steve. Dude, you did so awesome today. The stream was great.
Oh, thanks, Speedy. I only just realised that we were on that screen with the phone screens the entire time. But no, this all came together very last minute, and I think that it was definitely still a lot of fun. So I really do appreciate you coming on here. Obviously, this was all a little bit by the seat of our pants a little bit. So really happy to see you. Always happy to spend some time with you and cast some Pokemon Go PvP, because it was an absolute blast, especially when you've got high caliber battles with some high caliber competitors like we saw today, with all of these different teams flying all over the place. So, I mean, with that said, thanks also to everyone who is in chat, because they are seriously, like, it's awesome to just see people hanging out. And of course, thank you to the Mazer team, you know, King Duck's Pool. I mean, if they wanted to take 3 steps forward, then maybe we could say thank you to the Mazer gang, Melgood and King Duck's Pool, hanging over there, barely throwing his hands in there. He's too tall. Too tall, chat. But yeah, us short kings and queens. But we really owe a lot to those Mazer folks who kept this tournament running, and of course Antimatter who kept this going as well over here in Nexus League at Pittsburgh. But with that said, thank you all so much for coming out, and thanks to everyone who has been coming out. I have to go give everyone a hug now that I haven't been able to talk to for the last however many hours we've been streaming. But seriously, thanks to everyone, and hopefully we'll see you in some upcoming Play Pokemon events.
See you there, Steve.
One day, I will meet you, Speedy. I will. Mark my words.
We will make it happen. But until then, thank you again to everybody, and take care.
Catch you all.